Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the ultimate Cleveland sports show. Along with Tyvis and Jason, I'm Adam, and that sounds weird saying I'm Adam. I didn't even say the nickname. I don't know. It was weird.
Isn't that a movie? I Am Adam?
Is that a movie?
Is that
there was the Adam Project that came out in the last year or so. Well,
Adam Project, that's what I was thinking of.
I was already pot committed because I had said Jason and Tyvis without saying their last name, so I felt like I couldn't say my full name
Wow,
because
I
it
got
was
my
like
hat
inappropriate.
On. This is the first time in a long
Look
time.
at you with no hat.
Yeah, I forgot to put my hat on. It's over there though.
Well, you're out of luck.
It is what it is now.
We got Steve, we've got Mike, we've got Earl, we've got Anthony, all behind the glass.
Pop-Tarts?
Donuts. I brought in donuts and Pop-Tarts.
Were we supposed to take
celebrate
those off the set?
Hey, Earl, do me a favor. You go grab those off the set.
Why can't we leave them on the set?
No. It looks a little sloppy.
It looks sloppy? Well, then you guys should have been on top of that earlier. Let's go.
I was too
Where you
busy
been?
eating them.
Jason's grabbing a donut.
One more.
You're a kid.
I love these
Those
things.
are the best.
Oh,
Earl, can you put the chocolate ones in the fridge?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're the man.
Can I get a glass of milk? Little glass?
So anyway, we're still reveling in our victory
Ooh, I'm
of
reveling in
our
this donut.
Emmy Award. So there you go. The Emmy Award-winning show,
This one doesn't have a hole in the middle of it.
unlike any other shows. There's no other sports show in Cleveland
like
that is
like
an
a
Emmy
hole.
Award-winning
There's
show.
no hole.
Isn't that factual, Mike?
Yes, forever.
That is correct. No other show has won an Emmy.
YouTube
Congratulations.
show.
Huh?
Talking about the little YouTube show?
Yeah, little YouTube show. There you go.
Why is he
Jason's
with my
stuffing his
donut?
face. Good for him. All right, so lot to get to today. The Guardians lost yesterday. 7-game winning streak comes to an end. We'll talk about that game and some other things Guardians related. Later in the show, we actually, believe it or not, have not talked about the Browns much lately. Which,
Thank God.
Right? It's a little change of pace off season.
June. What is there to talk about?
I mean, yeah. But we're going to do it.
How they enjoying their 6 weeks off
Usually
until
in
it's
the
time
city.
to get back in.
We figure out something to talk about.
Well, we're
in
the
show.
only show in this city that knows how to talk about things other than the Browns, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So, but we will talk. I shouldn't even say it's really a Browns topic. We're going to draft.
Yeah.
If you took every player in the NFL and put them into the draft, not the contracts are out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Now their age is a factor, their health stat, anything else matters, whatever. But you forget their contract. Contracts are irrelevant. If you were drafting the NFL from scratch, 1 through 32, how many Browns would be on there, and how high would they go? That's coming up a little bit later. But, of course, the biggest news of the day is the Cleveland Cavaliers, guys, have a new player with the 20th pick in the draft. Mikey McNuggets is going to get us going, though, first.
Yeah, first off, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined our Cavs draft watch party last night. We were sitting around 700 or more viewers on the live draft party bowl for an hour.
Yeah.
Then when the Cavs were up, we jumped up to about 1,400. I talked by myself for 85 minutes, which anyone who would listen to me talk by myself to myself for 85 minutes deserves a Presidential Medal of Freedom because that is a tough thing to endure. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I got frankly caught a little off guard by the pick because Jaylon Tyson wasn't one of the guys I had done a ton of research on. I wasn't prepared for. So I stayed up late and came in early to do a little film breakdown and get more comfortable talking about Jaylon Tyson. So after you guys give us a little thoughts on the pick, we'll run through some of the tape I saw and see if you guys agree with my film analysis of the decision to select Jaylon Tyson at number 20. We're going to dive right into our first topic.
Yeah.
After a quick word from FanDuel. You guys know I love sports. I love them so much that I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up every single customer with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and make the most of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and the official sports betting partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So, Bull, with that, let's dive into the Cavs selection of Jaylon Tyson at number 20. A quick bio on Jaylon Tyson.
Yeah.
And then we'll go over the grades and the analysis, then I'll open up the floor to you guys.
Yeah.
But in case you're unfamiliar with Jaylon Tyson.
Like most of the ESPN staff who had no clue who he was.
And myself last night. I was familiar, but not super in tune with what he was. Yeah. He was taken 20th overall. He made first-team All-Pac-12 last year. He's played at 3 schools in 3 years, which does raise some questions. He went to Texas as a freshman, Texas Tech as a sophomore, and then the University of California for his junior and final year in college. He's a shooter-scorer. His defense and decision-making leaves some to be desired for sure. If you look at the grades of this pick across the interweb, they are wide-ranging grades depending on how you view and how you value Tyson as a prospect. The Ringer and Yahoo both gave the pick an A-. NBC Sports gave it a B+. CBS Sports gave it a B-. Bleacher Report and USA Today gave it a C-. I'll give you the best report in terms of what they said. Then we'll give you the worst report so you get both sides of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. The best report on the pick came from Yahoo Sports that said, quote, Tyson was one of the best scorers in the Pac-12 and can do a little bit of everything really well. He's strong with the ball, cuts well, finishes through contact, but his mobility on defense and ability to keep players in front still needs some work. On the other end, that was a report from the A- outlet. The report from the C- outlet says, quote, this is USA Today, Cleveland needs help on offense, but with the prospects still left on the board, Tyson, a curious choice that feels like a reach. His shot making will help the 20th ranked scoring offense at least. So now you know who Jaylon Tyson is. Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on the pick?
Mike, I know you've watched video now and you're higher on the pick than you were at the time. But you've admitted that you thought there were better choices for them at 20. I know John Fanta, who covers college basketball, knows it really well. He thought there were better choices for the Cavs at 20. I'm not a phony, guys. I know nothing about this guy. I never heard about him. So I'm going to trust people that actually do know. And when I hear people saying that the guy is a little stiff with his ball handling,
Pause.
Well, that's true. I don't like that he went to 3 schools in 3 years. Go ahead. You wanted to comment on that specific thing?
Yeah. Initially on the surface, yes, that's a flag.
Yeah.
When you dig into a little bit more, he initially was committed to Texas Tech, flipped and went to Texas, left after a year, went to Texas Tech, and there was an issue with the coach and there was a racial remark, and
all right,
he got out after that. So I do think I agree. When you hear 3, even in this day, with transfer, when you hear 3 schools in 3 years, you think that's not good. I do think there's a little bit more.
All right, you want to give him a pass for that part?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. All other concerns were he's used to having the ball in his hands, which he probably won't all that often here. And the scariest thing that I read or was told is that he takes too long to get his shot off. If that's a problem in the Pac-12, what's it going to be like in the NBA? So, listen, it's the 20th pick in the draft of a draft that's supposedly bad. Maybe the guy's a nice player. I think, as always, you need to be realistic. The odds that the guy's going to be a significant piece for the Cavs is slim, but who knows? What do you think?
I agree with you that the 20th pick, I wasn't expecting a lot.
Right.
I wasn't expecting this guy to come in here and be the starting 3 and just going to take over and boom, we're going to take off. That's not what I was thinking when I saw this pick. I do believe that he possesses a skill that was something that they needed last year, and that's the shooting ability. Now, I agree with you that there are some concerns that it does take a little long for him to get his shot off. I watched McNuggets tweet today, and I was watching this little highlight that he put together. It's really not that slow. Like, it is slow, but it's not that slow. I feel like
yeah, but that little difference could make a difference. Yeah,
I feel like when he gets in the NBA and you got to adjust to the speed of the game. Every level that you go to, the speed of the game is going to change, and it's up to you to adapt to it and fix what you got to fix. So I'm trusting that he'll be able to see, like, all right, I got to be a little bit quicker with my shot, and I'm going to get it off a little bit better. I think that will be the case. Obviously, he's around some guys like Donovan that can teach him a little thing about shooting with confidence and stuff like that. But, yeah, he's going to be with the second unit, and I'm not worried about him having the ball in his hands in college and then going to the NBA and not having the ball. The one thing that saves me is that McNuggets just said that he's a strong cutter to the basket, so he does know what it's like to not have the ball. It's up to the guys that's with the ball in their hands with the second unit to get him the ball in space. at the end of the day, if he can spot up and make shots in the playoffs, that's all that we really need. But when I look at this long terms, and to me, it seems like he's just like between him and Amani Bates, like it's pretty much the same thing. You got guys that can shoot the ball, but then have problems with defense and stuff like that.
I think people think he's more of a legitimate.
Well, I agree with that.
Amani Bates,
yeah, but I'm saying, like,
100%.
saying, like, the skill set wise, shooting is both of their strong points. Now, what I do like about this guy is that he rebounds the ball, and if you're gonna have a particularly smaller lineup, at least you got another guy that's willing to attack the glass. So I do like that part about him.
Jason, what do you know? What do you hear? What do you think?
I think it's interesting that the last 2 times that they've picked sort of in this spot, they've gone with more of a certain thing than upside. If you go back and look a couple years ago, they took Abaji at 14, and he was a 4-year guy out of Kansas and was more or less a finished product. And he's kicked around. Utah's already given up on him and sent him elsewhere. But here we are again with the 20th pick. And I also think it's important to note that, and Mike Gansey mentioned this last night, the Cavs GM, that they don't control their pick for the next 5 years. So that puts a little added emphasis onto this pick. Not that they won't have any picks over the next 5 years, but this is the last pick that they control. No first-round pick next year. And I asked him if there's a pattern here that you're taking guys that are a little bit more of a finished product instead of maybe reaching for upside because this team is trying to win right now. And he said, yeah, he felt like that played into it a little bit because it is a crapshoot picking where you're picking. You can get really good players down at the bottom of the first round, but it's you're throwing a dart sort of at this point. He does fill a need with some of the shooting. He isn't great defensively, but they seem to think he was asked to do so much at Cal that end sort of went by the wayside. His last year at Cal, he was surrounded by a lot of younger players, a lot of walk-ons. The team was just sort of in a transition period. So they asked him to do a lot, and that's why he played with the ball in his hands. The Cavs like the fact he can do a little bit of everything. He can get downhill. He can shoot. He is good sized. I think I didn't see what he measured at the combine in shoes.
6'5.5".
No, that was out of shoes.
Oh, he's listed at 6'7" or 6'6", depending on the outlet.
Yeah,
Without shoes at the combine, he measured 6'5.5" with a 6'8" wingspan.
Yeah.
It's almost the identical measurables to Isaac Okoro.
Yeah. It was I couldn't find the with shoes, which obviously they play with shoes, but I like the without shoes because that's an actual. Now you know how tall he actually is. 6'5.5" without shoes, so you can imagine he's probably going to be about 6'6.5", 6'7" on the court. So there is some size element there. It is curious now to see how this impacts Isaac Okoro being a restricted free agent. Obviously, Okoro is very much a defensive guy. They've invested a lot of time into him, and his shot is getting a little bit better every year. And we'll see. I mean, Tyson is not the defender that Okoro is on the perimeter.
Do you know what is Karis LeVert's contract?
He's got another. I think he signed for 3 years, didn't he? When he signed,
and
he's under
got
contract.
that info?
He's under contract for.
No, I was just because I was thinking maybe they was thinking this guy could be maybe a potential Karis.
No, this is his last year.
This is his last year.
He signed a 2-year, $32 million extension. This is his last season under contract, and as we mentioned earlier, or at least I told you guys, if you were in dire need of the Cavs to draft a big wing, a legit big wing, Jaylon Tyson's not the answer. You'll be sorely disappointed if you wanted a big wing and Jaylon Tyson's what you got. If you frame it in the mindset of this is your Karis LeVert potential replacement and/or this makes Karis LeVert expendable via trade, he's much more in the Karis LeVert replacement category than he is in the we need a big wing and he's going to fill that void.
I think when you look, like, nobody knows if this guy's going to be any good, right? Guys in the NBA get it wrong all the time, just like they do in every other sport. I think it comes down to, for all of us, how much do you trust Koby Altman? And for me, that's where I think Koby Altman is a. I'm trying to be nice.
Mediocre. That's the word
I think he's kind of like a piss poor GM. Is that too harsh?
I think they've done a nice job on their picks. Like, there's guys, you can go back through any draft and you can look and say
they got it wrong.
They should have taken this guy. This guy's a better pro than that guy. But to me, are you drafting guys who can play in the NBA? You know, are you missing entirely on picks?
Like Anthony Bennett.
Anthony Bennett's a great example. Are you drafting guys who can't play, or are you drafting guys who can play in the league for 6, 8, 10 years? And I think they've got a good record of drafting guys who can play.
So I'm being too strong. Saying
Yeah,
pick 4.
I think they've done a nice job of finding guys who fall through the margins. And I'll mention Dean Wade again as a guy who was an undrafted free agent who they developed, gave him a 3-year contract, and is a key component. Sam
But
Merrill's
he
bounced
hasn't
around.
been, Jason,
No,
because
but
he's
he
been
has
hurt
been.
when the games have mattered.
But that's out of his control a little bit. He's a really good player.
Well-
yes, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating that he wasn't available in the postseason. But when he's on the floor, he's really good, and he helps them a lot. He could start for a lot of teams in the NBA.
I hear you, but if you're not on the floor when it matters, and he hasn't been 2 years in a row,
well, for the
It's a
playoffs,
big point.
Yeah.
he had a shoulder injury 2 years ago, and then this year was a knee.
Yeah.
And again, that's just if he got hurt in December, you wouldn't think anything of it. You sort of can't help the timing of injuries. I agree with you. It's frustrating, but I can't hold that against him in terms of nailing a pick on signing a guy and developing him. Like they did that. That's a win.
To me, and you tell me if I'm being unfair. Most of the things Koby Altman has done here have been underwhelming. Like outside of maybe the trade of Jared Allen, I'm not giving him credit for the Donovan Mitchell trade. Like that's
See, I've come around on that. I have, because it was a massive risk to hear everything that we've heard for the last year.
Yeah.
You really got me defending Kobe today.
Good.
But when you hear everything that we've heard, I was told for a year he is not going back there. And I'm thinking this is going to be a disaster because
Who's not going back there?
Donovan.
Oh, he wasn't going back to Utah?
No, to Cleveland. That he wasn't going to resign.
yeah.
For a year. That's what I heard.
Right.
Over a year. And when you look at the trade and go, oh my God, they lost 5 years of control of their draft for a guy who's not even going to be here. Now they're going to recoup some sort of value for him.
Okay.
But that trade's going to be a disaster.
Right.
And he sort of put him on the table there, made the trade, and they're going to get him to resign. So that's a win. And yeah, you get credit for that, for sure, because nobody thought he was coming here.
Yeah.
It was a risk to bring him here because he thought he was going to New York. He told you at his press conference he thought he was going to New York.
taking batting practice with the Mets the other day.
And
But you look
so
at
that's a
the
win.
Kyrie trade. You look at the Kevin
Kyrie
Love
trade
signing.
was terrible.
All the draft picks to this point in their careers have been underwhelming. No?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
No?
No.
Darius Garland's gone backwards 2 years in a row.
Darius has regressed.
Evan Mobley has not been as good as we thought he'd be.
Evan Mobley is a very
Isaac
good NBA
Okoro's a
player.
stiff. I mean,
Wherever Mobley was just
Look at the
he was
contract
just-
Isaac's about to sign this summer. He's
Was
still going
it?
to get paid.
Wait a
well,
minute.
just because teams are stupid and pay guys who are stiffs doesn't mean
Was it? Did Evan finish? Didn't he finish second in DPOY 2 years ago?
Yes, he did. And this doesn't have to become a Koby Altman like.
Well, but
resume
what did I
check.
say
It
that was
becomes
unfair?
legit.
Did I say anything that was unfair? Be honest. If I'm being unfair,
I mean, I
tell
don't
me.
think it's fair to say he's missed on all his draft picks.
I didn't say
Like,
he missed.
I
I said his
wasn't-
draft picks have been underwhelming.
I wasn't a big Colin Sexton fan, but
Yeah.
but
He's a good player.
he got paid in Utah. He's a good.
Everybody
NBA
gets
player.
paid in the NBA,
no,
though,
that's
Jason.
not true.
Well, not
That's
everybody, but a
true.
lot of guys get
A bunch
paid.
of guys don't get a second contract. And don't get a big deal.
But he was hyping up Colin Sexton as he was the next superstar, and he's not.
Yes,
He
but
is a Utah.
There's a whole backstory to that because he's what came from the Kyrie trade, and they had to look like they had something left. And again, you're going back to Kyrie and Kevin, and those moves were when
Those
he
were
was-
colossal failures.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. And those were when he was first put in that position. I'm not sure how much, it goes back to what we say all the time. You get better the longer you do something. And those were, he was
fair.
not ready for the job. If you want to hold those against him, he was
Yeah.
thrust from third chair to first chair,
Yeah.
and he was put in a really tough spot. And the Kevin contract was a disaster. I hated the Kyrie trade from the start. But once they started this rebuild, Darius has not played well last year. He's coming off a bad year. Fair. But I still think he's a very good NBA player, and he's made an all-star team, and he made the U.S. select team, which is not hard. That's not easy to do. You got to be
Max contract.
really good. Yeah, you got a max contract. Mobley, he hit the pick. That's a good pick. He may not have blossomed yet into this offensive dynamo that I thought that he would, and a lot of people thought he would, but he's still a really good NBA player, and he's about to get a max contract.
Right, but
they've nailed
but
it. They've gotten the picks right. They've hit on their picks.
The guys aren't as good as we thought they'd be.
You talking about Evan and Darius?
I don't think it's just is it a W or an L? There's some gray area in between there.
Well, if you look at the Mobley draft, Kate
Yeah.
Cunningham was the first overall pick. He
Right.
hasn't blossomed into a superstar yet. Jalen Green was the second overall pick in that draft. He hasn't blossomed into a superstar
Right.
yet. The fourth overall pick was Scotty Barnes, who just got a $270 million contract extension, similar to what Evan Mobley's going to get.
Yeah.
But he's not a franchise-changing player. I mean, Top 4 picks in that draft, they're all good
All
players.
right, what about 5? I don't know. What about 5, 6, 7, 8?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'll look it up.
So you guys trust Kobe? Do you think he's?
I mean, they could have drafted Tyrese Halliburton and they didn't.
right.
So
There you go.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, there are, but that happens in every draft. That guys fall to 11, 12, 13,
Fine.
14, 15.
But the Cavs
guys
never
that
get that guy.
But the guys
Never.
they are taking are productive, valuable NBA players. They're
next-
not missing on their picks.
The next 6 picks in the Mobley draft, by the way, Jalen Suggs at 5, solid, whatever. Josh Giddey just got traded. Jonathan Kuminga, another good player, but not a superstar. Franz Wagner, Davion Mitchell, and Zaire Williams. You can make the case that Mobley's the best player in the draft right now.
Yeah.
You can only pick from what's there.
Okay. Well, you guys told me he was going to be a superstar, and he's not close.
And that's fair. But, like,
I mean,
once again,
you know,
you can only pick. You can't make a superstar
That's
in a
fair.
draft that doesn't exist.
Well, maybe if they had a better coach.
We'll find out.
And
Well, I
that-
guess
that's
we'll
valuable.
see.
So do you guys trust Koby Altman? I guess is the question.
I actually think they've done a better job of player development these last few years than they have in a long time here.
I think that would. I
Okay.
think when you think about Kobe, you're so into the Kyrie and the Kevin Love thing.
I think it does cloud
like
things,
you got to
yeah.
you off of recency. Yes. But if you think of overall, I can
He's been
see
better.
why. I can see why people are like this because it's been like this. But as of recent, it ain't been that bad.
He's been better.
Yeah.
I agree. That's fair. What about the Okoro draft, Mike? Because that I don't know. You guys look at that as a hit. I look at Okoro
No,
as
I
a
don't.
miss.
I don't look at that as a total.
It's
hit.
not a hit.
Who was the other option? Who else?
Why
could-
would anybody pay Okoro a lot of money? Like what?
defensive?
Why?
presence?
He's gotten better
So that
every
was
year as a shooter.
that was the
He's
COVID
elite
year, and then we'll get back
defensively.
to Jalen Tyson because we've derailed Jalen Tyson.
Yeah, we
who was the
have.
pick.
Well, because who cares? I mean, this is the bigger picture. This matters more. No.
This is a big picture that we could have this discussion
Yeah.
any day over the next 4 months before the season, but this is on the heels of just drafting a guy in the first round.
Oh, Tyrese
That's the
Halliburton.
COVID
That's
draft.
Yeah.
The Okoro draft.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards, #1 pick, absolute slam dunk.
Yeah. Well, forget who went before him.
I'm
This
just giving you
doesn't-
the James Wiseman, who went second that year,
Yeah.
has just been cut by the Pistons.
Bust.
He's been on 2 teams completely.
Right, okay.
That's an absolute miss
Yeah.
by the Warriors.
by the Warriors. LaMelo Ball was the 3rd pick. Patrick Williams was the 4th pick, and he's a restricted free agent in the same situation
Yeah.
as Isaac Okoro. Okoro was 5th. The next picks after that, Onyeka Okongwu
Oh,
of
he's
the Hawks.
fantastic. Oh no, he's good.
He's okay.
I was being sarcastic.
He's okay.
He's a center, right?
Yeah, he's their backup center.
He's pretty good, isn't he? He's better than Okoro.
It's a backup center on the Hawks.
See, but you also got to
Good.
think at that time.
Well, hold on. Let me finish the top 10
Go
real
ahead.
quick. Killian Haynes was the 7th pick, out of the league. Horrific.
Really?
Obi
Is he?
Toppin, good role player.
He good role
Obi
player.
Toppin is better than.
I'm not saying he's not.
yeah,
but
yeah,
he's
yeah.
a good pick.
Yeah.
Denny Advia at 9.
He just got
would have been a better
traded.
pick.
He just got
That was a
Advia's a
better
guy
pick.
you could say who plays the same position as Okoro. That's a straight miss.
Yeah.
Jalen Smith of the Suns was the first player ever after, I think, a year where they were like, no, he's already been traded twice.
Yeah.
Miss. Vassell was the 11th pick.
So there's 3 or 4 guys there that would
Yeah.
have been much better.
But Okoro's not.
He's not a miss.
He's like a single, if that makes sense.
All right, I'll buy that.
It's a butt single.
So I'm being too harsh. You guys think I'm being too harsh when it comes
I don't
to
think
Kobe?
Koby Altman is a great drafter.
Yeah.
But when you look at
you
his
think he's an
history-
adequate drafter?
I think he's adequate. Yeah. I think that's fair.
I think he plays it
All
safe.
right, fair enough.
I think he just plays it safe. Like he takes somebody that he's like, and if all else fails, this guy can do this. When you look at Okoro, if all else fails, he can play defense. When you look at this Jalen Tyson dude, all else fails, he can shoot threes.
Can we break some film down real quick?
Please.
All right, so I last night, admittedly, when they picked Jalen Tyson, I was not super familiar. He was on my list. I did real quick research, but I didn't dive in deep, so I didn't think that was a guy who was going to get drafted. I talked to a couple guys in the pre-draft process, didn't ask about him once. So hand up, bad job out of me.
Why is that, Mike? Why did you not have him on the radar?
Because when you look at like the draft rankings,
Yeah.
like ESPN had him as the 17th ranked wing. But when the Cavs made the selection last night, and from everything else we've kind of put together this offseason, it feels like they're in win-now mode. When Donovan resigns, it is we have to win right now. So guys like Johnny Furphy, who Tyvis mentioned as his slam dunk pick yesterday, or Kaishan George, who have been drafted, or have been mocked, to the Cavs, those are projects. Guys who aren't going to be ready to really contribute right away, as opposed to a guy like Tyson, who's a 3-year college player, ready to step in and contribute.
So you think he's going to have a role
I think
right
there's
away?
a much better chance he plays than if they drafted Furphy, who needed some time to develop, put on strength, does not have an NBA-ready body. Jaylen Tyson certainly does.
Jason, do you think he's going to have a role right away?
No. Well, let's wait and see how the roster.
I gotta see.
We got a long way to go.
Because if he's not going to have a role right away, then Then you should have taken the guy with the upside, even if it takes him longer.
That's fair, and that's why I think this ended up being the pick.
Yeah.
Because he is a guy who can step in and
Yeah.
play. And a couple of things. So you watch.
If he's a
the film-
contributor right away, then I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
He
go
can,
ahead.
I think he can step in and
He
play.
can be.
But this is
All
a
right.
talented team. Like they got
that's
guys
fair.
in front of them.
That's fair.
And I think that's what they're hoping for. And like I said, he's more in the Levert role than the Isaac Okoro role, but it gives you another option to play in that 2-3. They have way too many wings who are 6'6" and under. They don't have that big wing, but he gives you some offensive versatility you didn't have before. And the number one thing when you watch, and Steve, you can start taking this video. This one's a while. He's a shot creator, a space creator, and a shot maker. And some of these, when you can play this whenever you want, Steve, some of these are some pretty difficult shots that he makes over guys. And this is a skill set that reminds me a lot of Karis LeVert in a sense. It's not as herky-jerky, not as shifty as a Karis LeVert, and his first step isn't super explosive. But you can see against Pac-12 competition, this is against San Diego State right here, which made the Final Four. A good defensive team, he's able to create space off the dribble when the shot clock's winding down. At Cal, he was playing with a bunch of nobodies. He was asked to do everything offensively, and opposing teams knew that. And yet he was still able to create space, create shots and opportunities for himself. And that's the one thing that stands out more than anything else on tape, is this guy has the ability to create space with or without the ball and make shots. In today's day and age of the NBA, you cannot have enough guys on your roster who can create shots for themselves. And it's something that Max Strus can't really do on his own. He's more of a, you have to create for me offensive player. Jaylen Tyson is a guy who can create his own shot. So in that aspect, it's appealing. You see a bunch of jump shots in this video. Steve, if we go to the next clip.
Before we go to the next clip, Mike, I got a question
Steve,
for
pause
you.
it real quick. Or go back and
Can we
drop
pause
it.
it?
Go back to this.
I had a question.
Shoot.
So,
We're going to talk about his release. If you're asking about the release,
Yeah.
I have a different clip later about the
Okay,
release.
go ahead.
All right, Steve, let's go to the next clip now, which is his finishing and his driving ability. He is an aggressive driver, and at 6'6", 215, he has an NBA physical-ready body to absorb contact. You'll see he finished with his left hand. He finishes with his right hand. I don't think he'll be able to dunk over guys in the NBA like he did in college, but he'll show you the ability if you give him space or if you're playing too high. He's got a little bit of shiftiness to get past you, and he can finish with the left and with the right. Once again, I don't think he's going to be dunking over guys like he did on occasions in college, but he certainly has the confidence and the strength to hold off defenders, absorb the contact in transition or in the half court, and make tough layups around the rim. Third thing I liked from him, most scorers, when they don't have the ball, stand still, stand in the corner. They're not involved in the offense. That is not the case with Jaylen Tyson, who is a willing and understanding cutter without the ball. We talked about Kenny Atkinson's offensive system. It involves a ton of movement and cutting, and that takes a smart player to understand. And when you watch Jaylen Tyson at Cal, even though some of the other guys on his team weren't necessarily on-ball creators, he was still moving pretty frequently without the ball, finding ways to get open, and then scoring off those plays. There's a couple back cuts here as we end this last clip that show his ability to read defenses, make the appropriate cuts, and then finish in the paint. Those are the positives. On the downside, Bull, and Steve, if you want to take the next clip, his release is slow. It is not – oh, no, first, these are post-ups. He posted up a bunch in college. I don't think he's going to post up a ton in the NBA. No. At 6'6", 215, he's got good size for a 2'3", not great size, and he's going up against smaller defenders in college that he has the physical strength over. I'm not sure he'll have that same advantage in college. He scored about 6 points per game in the post at Cal this past season. He can do it. It's in his bag. I just would not expect to see that on a regular basis at the NBA level. So this is part of his game that I don't think necessarily translates as well as his shot creation off the dribble. The more concerning thing to me is the slow release here, Bull, and you can take the next clip. It is not forever slow. It is just slow. And it is absolutely a valid concern, Bull. It's quicker off the dribble than it is in a catch-and-shoot situation, and the best shooters in the league have that bad boy up in a split second. They don't bring it down. They catch, they fire. Think Klay Thompson, think Steph Curry. Even Max Strus has an extremely quick release coming off screens. Jaylen Tyson does not have an extremely quick release, but that is something that can be worked on. That is not something that is completely broken, cannot be fixed. It's not like changing shot mechanics. It's about getting into those mechanics a lot quicker. I think of Tim Tebow Bowl when he came into the NFL and that release was so wonky and you knew it couldn't be fixed.
Yeah.
That is not the issue in this instance,
All right.
but it is slow. And it is absolutely 100% a valid concern, but it is not something that can't be worked on and fixed. And off the dribble, it is quicker than it is off the catch and shoot.
Jason, what do you think of the breakdown?
I think Mike nailed it. I think he did a great job. And, you know, you asked earlier, is he going to have a role?
Yeah.
I think we have to wait and see how the rest of this offseason plays out, and let's see what free
right.
agency looks like and see if they make any moves and see if Isaac Okoro's on this team or not come next year. But I think he's a piece that they can plug and play, and he can help them. I just don't know that there's going to be a spot for him on day one. But he'll help them this year. Like, there's injuries. There's all things come up. He will help. Like, you asked about Amani Bates came up earlier. This is completely different.
Right,
Amani
sure.
Bates is a massive project.
Yeah.
And this guy's not. He can step in and play right now.
Yeah, Amani Bates is a lottery ticket,
Yes.
right? I mean, with long odds.
Yes.
This guy, you know, seems like at worst he could be a player in the NBA. How good, who knows? But at least he could be a player. What about you, Tyvus? You were getting excited watching that video. What do you think after seeing that, Mike? Mike, great job with the breakdown. You did. I'm putting that together in one night. That's pretty impressive.
Hey, Mike, what time did you go to sleep last night?
Mike doesn't sleep.
I woke up earlier than how late I went to sleep.
Okay. I thought it was a good breakdown. I think you did a really good job of showing all the things that he's good at. The thing that I think matters the most is Kenny Atkinson going to put the Warriors offense, install the Warriors offense. If it's a lot of motion and a lot of movement like that off ball, he'd be perfect because you got a guy that can cut, back door, get a dunk, or you got a guy that can catch, spot up, and shoot a shot if he's open, you know, if he gets those screens and stuff. So I think that's perfect. I think the only concern is he's got to speed the jumper up because if this is a guy, they're running this motion offense, and he's got to catch it and shoot it and get it up before the guy gets there, obviously you ain't got time to
Yeah. Especially
Like,
against
it's gotta
good
be
teams
quick.
in the playoffs when
Right.
the defensive
Right.
intensity picks
Right.
up.
You know what really helps with that Warriors motion offense is Warriors shooters. And Warriors guys who can dribble, pass, and shoot.
So we
triple threats.
We ain't got shooters.
It ain't always just the
Not those
motion.
guys.
It ain't just the motion.
By the way,
Sometimes it's the archer, it ain't the arrow.
Jason, let me ask you this. Do you obviously they just hired Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah.
Do you think they said to him at last night, like, hey, you know, who do you like of these guys? Like, do you think he had any involvement whatsoever?
The Hayes in
decision?
the barn. I don't
You
think
think nothing?
I mean, he literally got there yesterday.
Right.
Literally.
You think there's any chance they said, hey, we're deciding between these two guys, who do you like more? Anything even like that?
I mean,
or probably not.
Did Kenny Atkinson even do any draft work at all?
The answer is no. I can tell you pretty confidently the answer is no. Not
Yeah.
only did he just get back yesterday, he's been working overseas in Paris with the French national team.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So he's not been involved in this process.
Why is he with the French national team? Is he coaching them in the
coaching
Olympics?
the Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And when you're an assistant
Yeah.
in the NBA, how much draft work are you?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think he walked in, sat down, and said, "All right, who we taking?"
Yeah,
Cool.
right.
Like it's
So he's not going in there like, oh, why do we take this guy?
No,
you know.
no.
Okay. All right. And Mike, you spoke to a couple people around the league.
Yeah.
What was the overall what bottom line it for us? What's the overall consensus seem to be on this guy?
Does he have tremendous upside? No. But can he step in and play right away as a guy who can be part of your rotation? Yes. He's got an NBA-ready body and game. And how that translates and fits into what the Cavs want to do, we will see. But he's certainly a more high floor, low ceiling guy, as opposed to a Furphy or a Kaishan George who could have a terribly low floor but a higher ceiling.
Where did Kaishan George go to?
24th.
To where?
Somewhere, and then he got traded. I believe Washington is where he's going to end up. I will double check that, but I believe it's Washington.
I think the bottom line is, again, it's something that I kind of started with. It's the 20th pick. There's not that many good players that end up being really good NBA players from 20 and beyond. So the odds of you finding a great player 20 and beyond are pretty slim.
Yeah.
If they find a guy who's a contributor,
Yes.
then that's a win. I give you that.
You're looking for a rotational piece. You're
Yeah.
looking for someone who can do something well.
Yeah.
And you're looking for, if you can get a second contract,
Then that's a win.
That's a win.
Especially at 20, no doubt. All right, Mike.
So
what
the
do you got?
Cavs pick 20. and I'm going to do a read, then we're going to get into our next Cavs topic, which
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what Tyvis Powell thinks about. But first, eBay Motors, passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home some big-time wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Mr. Powell, the Cleveland Cavaliers do not have a pick in the second round of tonight's two-part NBA draft, which, A, it's stupid they've separated this into two nights, but it is what it is. The Cavs do not pick. But will they jump into the second round and take Bronny James? Steve, if you want to take this graphic real quick, some of the top remaining candidates left on the board, and there's a line there for a reason. Johnny Furphy, Kyle Filipowski, Tyler Smith, Cam Christie. I put a line there for Bronny James, who is not one of the top prospects left, but that's who I want to ask about. And Jalen Wells is a name I just want you guys to remember, because I think he is in play for the Cavs as they move back into the second round. But Tyvis, let's focus on Bronny here. Are the Cavs going to move back into the second round and take Bronny James? Yes or no?
No. Well, I don't think so, because for the simple fact that a lot of people are high on Bronny James, and I just think that it's a lot that comes with getting him. I mean, this is a guy that's undersized, 6'1". I think you got that going on right now with your guards. They say he plays really good defense, but I also believe that if you're 6'1", you're always going to be a defensive liability, you know, and I think that it'll be a nice story. I think it'll make a nice story. He goes to the same team that his father got drafted to, but I don't think, I think it'll take a while for him to, get to where he wants to be. And on top of that, I think the Lakers want to keep LeBron satisfied, so I think he goes to the LA Lakers.
Let me ask you guys. I think that was good. I think it was good analysis.
Jason, how did I do?
I think you did fine. I didn't know we're grading each other.
There's some upside post-segment. Some upside with
because you'll come in and be like 100%,
Yeah. Let me
like
ask you guys this
Dan
about
and LeBron had an agreement that he would take his son and he's going to do it. You'll say something like that.
I've been holding my breath.
I would draft Bronny if I were the Cavs. I would try to.
I am like
Why?
I am like this until Bronny's off the board.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
seriously, I'm
Yeah.
like this.
But let me ask you guys this, and really, it's probably impossible to answer. I would love to ask this question to LeBron when I was sure he'd be totally honest, and if he knew it didn't get out there. Obviously, LeBron is more physically gifted than his son. We understand this. He's more physically gifted probably than any player, maybe in the history of sports, certainly in the history of the NBA. But there's also something that LeBron had that Bronny does not. And that's LeBron grew up poor.
So
LeBron grew up
hungry, is what you said.
in a tough environment.
Okay.
Bronny grew up with money out the you-know-what.
Okay.
And I wonder just in general, and not that he's the first player to ever come into the league or any league that came from money, but and I don't say that to knock him in any way. It's not like, oh, he's spoiled. I'm not saying that. I don't even know the kid. I'm not trying to insult him. There's just, I would assume, as someone who did not come from money, that it's just human nature that a kid that's poor, which most professional, I don't know about, yeah, it's got to be. Most professional athletes probably grew up either poor or middle class. Mm-hmm. Not that many grew up rich. Mm-hmm. I just wonder if there's something to that where it's not life on the line. Like, if Bronny doesn't make it in the NBA, he's still going to be fine for life.
I mean, you can.
And again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it's human nature.
I would think
and
that,
I wonder what kind of a factor that is.
I don't know Bronny like the next person. I don't know him personally. But I would think that, for one, he wanted his name to be Bronny. He don't want to go by LeBron James Jr. He want to go by Bronny because he always said he wanted to blaze his own path. And if that's the case, I don't want to go through my life as I got to live up to the expectation of my father. To me, it sounds like he's been a kid that always wanted to separate himself from his father's legacy. He want to blaze his own path.
But that's really
every
impossible.
kid does.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every kid does.
Does he know that he's good if everything fails? Absolutely.
Right.
But it's nothing better than saying it's my own. Like I did, this is mine. And I think that when he's been doing his interviews and when he's been talking, I think he said, don't draft me because I'm LeBron's son. Draft me because you want me.
Sure.
And I think that's the approach that you should be taking.
Right.
And I feel like he's been carrying himself that way for pretty much since he jumped on the map. So I would think that if I was him and I wouldn't want I don't even associate me with my father. We're not the same player. I'm not going to be 6'7". I'm not coming in as I got to be the next Jordan. Like that's not his thing. He's coming in, he's telling you right now, what was he named his comparisons. He like picked some B-level
He picked
player.
Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, like he picked players that's not stars because he's real with himself. And I respect that a lot about him. I think he's going to go get in the league, and I think his father's absolutely going to help him get into the league. 1,000%.
I got no problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. His father's name is getting him into the league. But I think he is one of those kids that once he gets in, he will either prove us that he wants to stay because of how good he is, or he's going to realize, you know what, maybe this is a little bit too much, but I'm good either way.
Go ahead, Jose.
I hear what you're saying. The flip side to it,
Yeah.
I would look at like Ken Griffey Jr. had money. He didn't
That's
stop
true.
him.
That's true.
And also,
he didn't have this kind of money.
no, but
Yeah.
the son of a professional athlete.
Yeah.
They
He's
did
good.
all right.
Yeah.
They did all right growing up. And also, I think having that money afforded Bronny every advantage
Sure.
in terms of training,
Yes.
equipment.
No doubt.
Like he had everything at his disposal.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think Bronny's had to deal with is the competition level from every other kid who looked at him and said, "You're the bronze kid. You think you're all that? I'm going to bust your ass."
Oh,
today."
that's true.
He got the very best of every bit player on
point.
the court from the time he was 11 and 12 years old, of every kid saying, "I'm going to take him out."
That's a great point. And by the way, Kevin Garnett, I heard him talking about Bronny the other day, and he talked about him at the Combine, and he said that he thought that he did a great job at the Combine.
I agree. I thought he did.
Yeah.
great.
Oh, he lit the combine
I mean,
up.
like interview process and how he carried himself.
Yes, but he
I'm
also
not a
said
draft
that, like,
evaluator.
His point was the lights, because he's been around the spotlight for so long, you don't have to worry about it. To me, if I got those genes, it's the second round. Why on earth would you not take him? And by the way, what is he, 19?
19, he was a top prospect, and he came
He
into his
could
freshman
get taller.
I just
year, cardiac arrest.
There are guys who get taller at 19, 20, 21 even. It's not impossible.
But it's not like he's going to grow 5 inches, 6 inches.
All right, but what if he was 6'3"? What if he got to 6'3", 6'4", instead of 6'1"? I mean,
my only issue with Bronny is that he, and it's kind of USC's fault. He played the 3 at USC, so he wasn't a primary ball handler. But he's gonna come to the NBA and be a backup point guard where he's gonna be a primary ball handler.
right.
So like that part, so like he's never really.
No, he's the natural point guard
But why did he play the 3?
because they already had one.
So why didn't they take him to another school?
So why couldn't he play the 2?
Well, the fact that he couldn't beat out somebody ahead of him is
Sure.
also sort of a
Yeah, we got something there.
But
Did that kid get drafted? That point guard?
Isaiah Collier, yeah, he went 27, I believe. I'll tell you in a second. I'll pull up the exact draft order.
But I talked to a scout who saw him on the AAU circuit extensively, and he said, "I like the kid because he can play." Like, I'm not saying I'd burn a first round pick on him, but he said, like, if you put him in where he's supposed to be and develop him, he's got a chance. So it's not like everybody thinks this kid's not a prospect.
Right.
It's going to take some work, obviously. And, to your point, I was talking to somebody where it's like, for what LeBron has meant, and this isn't fair to the kid, and that's why it's a little, but for what LeBron has meant to the organization, what he's meant to the city, what better tribute is there? You want to build a statue? No, go draft his kid.
Yeah. If I'm the Cavs, I'm trying to get a pick to draft him. What's the downside?
I mean, at this point,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll tell you, last night I was like, oh my God. Like, I was sitting there. Mike knows how much I've heard the smoke around Bronny and the Cavs for a while, and I was like, "Oh, if they do this, oh man, I ain't going to bed tonight." And I was just like, so I was relieved when
I
they
wanna
didn't
know-
take him. But
I
at
wanna-
this point in the
Yeah, at
second
this
round,
point, second round. What? By the way,
what's
what
the-
year is Bryce? By the way,
Oh, he's 2 years.
He's an upcoming June, so he's an upcoming senior now.
and he's considered a much better prospect, isn't he?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
he was at
taller.
one
He's
time.
He's bigger.
taller,
He's
yeah.
a bigger, but he's a 3-star recruit.
Oh, okay. All right.
Also, by the way, you asked about Collier. He went 29th last night to Utah.
Man, he barely
And to
made it
Jaylon
out.
Tyson, I just looked this up. We were talking about size of wings and stuff. He is essentially the exact same size as Jaylen Brown with 2-inch shorter arms. So guard, wing, whatever you want to call him.
That's so funny,
he
'cause
he
Jaylen
measured
Brown
at the
seems bigger.
combine at the exact same size as Jaylen Brown, except his arms are 2 inches shorter.
What
6'5"
does-
and a half with no shoes.
What does the red line mean?
Those guys
pull
are
that back
not.
up, Steve.
Those guys are
Yeah,
not
it
as
was
big of
simply-
prospects.
Simply, those 4 are the top 4 remaining prospects on ESPN. I wanted to include Bronny James because that's where this discussion was going, and Jalen Wells out of Washington State, a name I just want you guys to remember tonight in
Yeah.
case the Cavs get active.
Mike's
So
hearing
real quick
rumors,
before we
maybe.
move on here, Bull,
Yeah.
you say yes, acquire a pick, try to get in the second round to draft Bronny. Tyvis, you said you would or would not.
Personally, I would go with Furphy, but yeah, it doesn't matter. If they did it, I wouldn't be mad at it. Okay, yeah, sure.
And Jason, yes or no?
I don't know how many roster spots they have legitimately open, and I guess we won't know the answer to that until we know how some things
Right.
shake out. At this point, why not?
Why not?
Where are we talking about? Like
Yeah.
you talking about late in the second round? Go sure, sure.
Well, I mean, you got to
Probably have to draft. I mean, somebody's going to draft.
you got to
him.
get ahead of Phoenix and LA if you're going to do that.
Well, okay, that's.
I don't even know where Phoenix picks.
I don't
Where's
know
Phoenix
either.
picking?
Phoenix has a bunch of picks now because they traded the 22nd
That's
pick
right.
for some others, so I'm not exactly sure
Oh, so you're going to Phoenix?
where those picks are in the second round, but they have a couple second-round picks now.
So you're going?
Well, I'll
so
tell
you're
you.
going to Phoenix?
Who'd you say? Phoenix and who?
The Lakers at 55.
Neither one of them's picking for a while.
But Phoenix has the picks they just traded for yesterday. I'm not sure if it's updated
Has it
yet.
been updated?
Out of curiosity, what would it take to draft to get in the second round?
Jason would know better
A lot of
than
times you can just buy those picks,
Oh, okay.
Just
so,
money.
so some cash.
but it depends on how high up.
By the way,
you're
last
trying
thing
to
on
get.
the draft before we move on. First of all, in my opinion, ESPN's coverage is not good at all.
We were talking about that.
Oh
last
my
night at the-
God,
at the
so
Cavs
bad.
draft.
my boy. They say my boy Stephen A.
He's like, dude, you're the draft analyst. You got to know who the players are.
Never heard of him. He said.
And the interviews are such a waste. And this whole thing with the NBA where they announce the trades like an hour later where we all know about them already is so stupid. What is the point of that?
Well, what do you want them to do? They can't announce the trade until it's official, like with paperwork and with everything else. You want them to just not announce it and act like,
we already know about it as an
okay,
audience.
well, you still have to make it official.
But like, why don't they make
Then why
these-
do the Cavs announce Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah.
Why do they ever put out a release? Because we already know it, so why put out a release?
But it's just the way the crowd gets excited because they think it's news that they don't have already. It's
I mean,
anticlimactic.
you still have to have it on the record. You still
Adam
have to be
Silver
official
is a
about it.
weird.
Why did
looking
it
dude.
take? Why did it take 30 minutes for them to announce the pick?
Yeah, I mean, like,
The
why don't they
Cavs-
just trade the? It's so stupid.
No,
when
I'm talking about the Cavs after they select.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Dude, why it take? 30
But how about when they
minutes?
take pictures with these kids and you know they're already traded and they're taking a picture with the hat of the team that traded them away?
I mean, that's
Well,
the
it's
team
silly.
that
Rob
drafted him.
Dillingham, who was the 8th pick, who got immediately traded to Minnesota,
Yeah.
did an interview and they asked about joining the Spurs when on Twitter we
I
had
know.
known he was already.
So stupid.
It's not a great system. I agree.
Yeah.
Bull, we
Yeah.
have one more Cavs topic, then we'll talk Guardians and do our
Well,
Browns.
it's not a
draft.
Cavs topic; it's a Knicks topic, really. Well, kind of.
It's a
Both.
response to the Knicks, but a quick reminder, if you're in the chat, if you're watching, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It costs you $0.00. Helps us out on the back end a ton, and we appreciate every single one of you out there who
Mike,
tunes
you
in
got
on a daily basis.
you got freezing cold taked, which is good.
Yes, and I want to start by saying
Yeah.
that. I said on yesterday's show, after trading for Mikal Bridges, there was no chance the Knicks were going to re-sign OG Anunoby. And hand up, I was flat out wrong. They agreed to a massive $200+ million extension, and Anunoby's back. The Knicks have Mikal Bridges. The Nova Knicks are there in full force. Koby Altman has continually said we are not breaking up the core four, but seeing how some of the other teams in the East have operated thus far this offseason, Do you expect him to stick to that mantra, or does he have to change his approach this offseason, knowing how some of the other teams in the East have gotten significantly better over the last week and a half?
The only person that you could trade is Darius because Jared Allen is off the table, and you're not going to trade Evan Mobley. So, they're probably going to run it back and look to build around those guys.
It feels like, guys, that they're in a really tough spot because they're not as good as some of these other teams. But their path to getting better, I just don't see what it is. Darius Garland's trade value is down. You're not going to trade Mobley. You could trade Jared Allen, but are you going to get a better player than him? Maybe a better fit, but not a better
that's
player.
That's not an option. So
you're obviously not going to trade Donovan Mitchell if he's willing to stay. You have no other trade assets. You can't get into free agency because you're up against the cap. But you're clearly behind at least 2, 3, maybe 4 teams in this conference. So how? So it's a tough spot, Jason.
You got to hope that Kenny Atkinson comes in here with a great offensive plan that really gets these guys to shine in a better
You may
light.
be right.
That's
their hope is that their biggest hope might just be that Kenny Atkinson's the next top coach.
It's the Cavs hitting home runs like the Guardians. Like, you got to get better from within.
Right.
And I'm not a big fan of this team made this move, we have to make this move. That's true. You worry about your own roster. Now, you do have to look at who you're competing against and the positions and that sort of thing. But, I was surprised the Knicks gave up everything they gave up for Bridges. That was their Donovan trade. Who would you rather have, Donovan or Bridges? I'll take Donovan.
Yeah, but the only obviously you'd rather have Donovan, Jason. But what I would argue is that the team around Bridges is already a borderline championship contender.
It's a very good team around.
They have a way better roster than the Cavs do, don't they?
I just think that people, and I don't know, I would say the Knicks are now out of trade at. They went all in.
Right.
And the Cavs went all in on Donovan. And once you go all in, you're really all in. And it doesn't leave a lot left to be able to unless you start breaking off really key pieces. And then you have to decide, are we really getting better?
Right.
Or are we just rearranging deck chairs? Does this truly make us a better team? And I'm still, I know what they're saying, and they're telling teams we're not breaking this up. We'll see. I'm still not convinced that's true.
Yeah.
It's still June. We're not even to July yet. So I think there's a lot of factors at play that some may be out of their control that they end up moving one of these pieces. But I don't think that you do it as a reaction to the Knicks trade. I think that's a terrible way to go about it. You look at your own roster and you make the best decisions for your team based on what you have.
And you also can't make a trade just to make a trade.
Right.
You got to make a trade that's going to make your team better.
And those are hard.
Yeah.
That's why they don't happen very often.
Right.
It's hard, especially when you're trading key pieces off your team.
Yeah.
Off a team that did advance to the second round, has had a moderate level of success the last couple of years. You have to. If you're running this back, you're counting on Darius bouncing back.
Yep.
Which again, a year ago at this time, everybody wanted Jared Allen run out of town.
Right.
And now everyone's like, you can't trade Jared Allen. Jared Allen's great. Well, look how much in a year. And you've already seen it out of Darius. So you know it's in there. And you're expecting growth out of Evan. You're expecting this team to internally, organically improve and get better.
Where do you guys right now today? Obviously, we got the whole offseason to go besides
Fifth.
You got the Cavs fifth? You got the Cavs fifth?
Yeah, I just threw it.
Mike's got them fifth? You got them behind what? Boston, New York, Milwaukee, and Philly?
Correct. And technically today they'd be fourth, but Philly has a massive amount of cap space to spend, and I assume they're going to try to make a big splash. So technically right now I have them fourth.
But you think they'll be fifth?
Philly has a chance to catapult them with a free agent signing.
Jason?
I'm not a big Philly fan.
So you'd have Cavs fourth right now?
Boston.
I'm not a big Philly fan.
Knicks and Milwaukee?
Do you think the Pacer thing is real?
What about Orlando?
Orlando's coming.
Not yet.
What if Orlando gets a big-time point guard?
They might.
They
trade for Trae Young.
We're a couple weeks early on this. We have to see.
A month from now.
Where's Jimmy Butler go? Where's Paul George go? Does Kevin Durant stay in Phoenix? Does he come back east?
Right.
Let's let a little bit of this play out.
Rockets, if anything.
And see. Well, you never know. I mean, right now, for the sake of the argument, I would say fourth as well.
Okay.
I'll go up 4-2. I think the Pacer thing might be real, though. Because they scored.
They play fast and they score a ton of points.
Clip.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would be
Ty, would you feel
fearful of
if they
playing
were
them.
fourth if they had to face a healthy Giannis and lost in the first round of the playoffs? Or you say fourth because they made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals thanks to Milwaukee being hurt and then the Knicks literally falling apart in the playoffs injury-wise.
I see your point. Put them. The Cavs are 4, the Pacers are 5th.
So you're not buying into Indiana, Mike?
Or the 6th, excuse me.
I
Pacers
have them
6th.
6th. I mean, I have them just slightly below. They play an interesting, fast style, but I wouldn't say they're
So you
ahead
got
of-
them ahead of Orlando.
Yes.
They're 6-7. If you want to ask me tomorrow, maybe I'll think Orlando's better. I think Orlando
Okay.
has more
I
room
would take
to grow
Orlando. I
than
would take
Indiana.
Orlando. I was really impressed with Orlando in that playoff series.
Yeah.
I'd take Orlando. over
How
Indy.
how close right now are the Knicks to Boston?
They have the pieces to match up on the wing from a defensive standpoint. The question is, will Tibbs run everyone into the ground by the time the playoffs come around?
I would take New York over Boston.
Interesting.
Wait a
think
minute.
right
They're
now.
deeper,
Give me
right?
that. What's they
Porzingis-
Sorry. Did
You
I say
take Boston over New York?
Milwaukee. I meant Milwaukee.
Oh,
I would
Milwaukee
too.
over
I
New
think
York.
take New York
too.
over
I
Milwaukee.
Over
agree with
Milwaukee,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you
I
see
misspoke.
Porzingis just had surgery on his knee? He's going to be out 6 months.
Yes.
I don't know if it was his knee. I can't remember now what it was, but
It was that weirdest injury of all time that no one had ever heard of.
yeah, it was a weird. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't. All right. Well, this is fascinating. I mean, the Eastern Conference the top of the Eastern Conference is pretty tough, and one thing you obviously can't account for, you don't know, with injuries.
Right.
Obviously, they played a huge role this past season. All right, let's switch it up. Talk some baseball, Mike.
Let's talk some baseball. Bull, a quick reminder that FanDuel is the official sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And you guys know I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games. And the sports just don't sports like I want them to as much. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and make the most of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And Ant, let's get that FanDuel ticket up if we don't have it yet. We got a winner from yesterday's game. Steve, if you want to take FanDuel, let's see it. This comes from Shane Garrett, who bet Jhonkensy Noel to hit a home run in his first Major League game. It hit, and that turned $5 into $44 at nearly 8-1 odds. So shout out to our guy Shane Garrett for sending in that ticket. Bo, we'll talk a little bit about Noel in specific in the next topic, but the Guardians battled hard. They couldn't get the sweep, but they did fall in the series finales to Baltimore in a close competitive contest.
Yeah, they did. It was a weird game because I was when I first saw that Josh Naylor was out of the lineup for a second day in a row, I was really concerned about that. The Guardians have been known for kind of not talking about injuries.
Yes.
And so the fact that Naylor was out of the lineup 2 days in a row was a major red flag. Now, he pinch hit in the ninth inning, which was good to see. So that makes me think, okay, well, he's banged up obviously a little bit because you don't sit Josh Naylor 2 days in a row,
right?
Unless there's something going on. I was starting to worry it was something serious. The fact that he pinch hit yesterday, obviously, at least now they don't think it's serious. And he actually had a nice at bat against Craig Kimbrell to walk and give them a chance to bring the tying run to the plate. But so that was my biggest takeaway from that game initially. I was a little disappointed that Bo Naylor wasn't in the lineup yesterday because he's been so hot. I kind of wanted to see him out there.
Yeah.
And the Guardians...
He batting 3-3-3-3. But over the past couple of games.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, that was a bad brain fart yesterday.
I thought Carrasco did a decent job. I mean, his last two starts, he gave up two or three runs, Carrasco. I can't remember now.
Last night, too.
No, he only gave up two. Yeah, right. Curry gave
runs.
up the last 2 runs. I mean, his last 2 starts have been
solid.
as much as you could ask for him.
Solid.
He is what he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's always a gas can present. And
No
there's
doubt.
an open flame over here, and you just hope that the two paths don't meet.
Right.
And I feel the same way when Tristan McKenzie's on the mound as I do with Carlos Carrasco.
Yeah, but
That's sad.
But Carrasco's actually been
That's
better
really
these last 2
sad.
starts.
It's the reality of.
But you know what? It's really the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad, but that's really
Well,
the
I feel that way about Logan Allen, frankly,
Well,
right now,
I mean,
too.
Logan Allen shows up with the matches.
Yeah, well,
The Tristan thing.
that's true, too.
The Tristan thing.
if you real quick before you go back, if you had to rank your confidence in getting a quality start out of McKenzie, Allen, and Carrasco right now, how would you rank those?
I'd take Allen over all of them, I think.
No, I would actually take Carrasco.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
I think I would take Allen.
Because Carrasco has been around forever, He's Harris from Major League, man.
Yeah, right.
He's got enough snot.
That's crazy.
And petroleum jelly.
You,
and
you agree with that?
He could.
You take Carrasco.
He can duck, dodge, dive, dip, and dodge.
What are you? How are you defining a quality start? By the
Yeah. What are you? Yeah.
Are you going by the baseball rule?
No,
of 6
we're
innings?
just like, this is not going to be a catastrophe. Like, he could get us through 5 innings.
Then I'd go with Jason on Carrasco. Yes. If we were going by the letter of the law for
6 innings, 3 runs.
Yeah, I don't think Carrasco. I mean, like, how often does Carrasco pitch 6 innings? Not, although McKenzie hasn't really either.
Yeah.
But how would you rank the other two? So if you had Carrasco 1.
I would still
guess
go McKenzie.
I'd go
and Allen
McKenzie,
3.
too.
I
I'm
have
so
no
scared of
faith in
him.
Allen. I have no faith in
And this was my favorite pitcher just a couple of years ago.
Logan Allen?
No.
McKenzie.
Tristan McKenzie.
McKenzie's still got better
Heck
stuff.
No.
McKenzie has
But
no command.
if he miss, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because he has no command.
He has one elite pitch. His curve is, I don't know if it's elite, that may be, but he's terrific. He throws a terrific curve this year. Logan Allen doesn't have anything.
The problem with McKenzie is he's throwing straight fastballs. He has no command. He don't know where it's going. And so he's not, his fastball is not overwhelming. Like, unless you're throwing 100, you have to command your fastball. If you're throwing 93, 94, 95, even if it's right down the middle, most major leaguers are going to smoke the ball. And that's what's happening. He's throwing flat pitches on his fastball.
Who on the mound? It's not Allen tonight, is it?
I don't know.
It's Ben. I think it's Ben. Yeah.
They're starting a series with Kansas City. Walker just came off the IL. I think he's made 1 start since coming back. Obviously, Lively's been tremendous. And thankfully for him, because, I mean, outside of, he's been there by far their second best starter.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You know what?
But again, playoff time,
You don't know.
I can't trust. I don't want McKenzie, Carrasco, or Allen in the rotation,
No.
and I don't want Lively any higher than 4th. So I gotta get a second and third starter. Hopefully, one of them is Gavin Williams.
Yeah.
But you got to go out of the organization for the other.
You know, did y'all find it odd last night that I think it was Jose, Kwan, and Jimenez? I think all went hitless.
Yeah, it was one of those nights. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez is a good pitcher. Gave up a couple of home runs, including that smoke shot by Noel, who got a home run his first.
Did Freeman get the other one? I think it was Freeman with the. No, it was Arias. The second.
Jhonkensy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about expectations of him in 1 sec.
We got
was a moonshot.
to talk about his home run.
We thought the home run. I'm just saying we're going to dive into.
All right, let's dive in.
Because
Yeah.
we were talking upstairs.
Yeah.
His nickname has to be J-Honk.
J-Honk.
It has to be J-Honk.
He is
Or just honk.
big dude, man.
He looks like he could be an NFL defensive lineman with his lower body.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
We had a pronk. Let's have a honk.
Yeah, honk. Yeah.
Smoke that ball.
I will say that guy's got some swag to him.
Yes.
He does.
I like it because he came up, he hits the home run, he was feeling himself, which I love. And then in the 9th inning, he comes up against Kimbrel, and he was a time run, and he struck out. You know, obviously Kimbrel's a veteran closer, one of the best in the history of the game. He's not great anymore at this point, but he's still a veteran. Effective, yes. But he, like, when he got a fastball past Noel was standing there, if you saw it last night, and he's like, okay. Like, how many guys making his first big league game are like, yeah, Craig Kimbrel, you're maybe going to the Hall of Fame someday, but okay, I see your fastball.
You know who
I'm coming for you.
You know who you sound like? You sound like the dude off of Space Jam that was telling when Michael struck out, and he was like, you know, when you strike out, you look good. When I strike out, it look nasty. That's how you sound. If you was in the dugout.
Who is that voice? Who is that guy?
I don't remember who that guy was, but if you was in the dugout, that would have been that situation. That's what you would have said to him.
That's right. Go ahead, Mike. What you got?
No, I just want to say, if you're in the chat and you have a nickname suggestion for Jhonkensy Noel, please put it in there. We'll read some of these at the end of this coming up clip about him.
Jhonkensy. Did you call him
Jhonkensy.
Jhonkensy?
Jhonkensy.
It's in
Did
my
I
head,
say
J-Honk.
Jhonkensy?
He called him
J-Honk.
Jhonkensy.
Just J-Honk from now on.
Did I say Jhonkensy?
No, I did. Jhonkensy.
I thought I said it right, but maybe I screwed it up too. Jhonkensy.
Jhonkensy. I'm going to call him J-Honk. And Bull.
Yeah.
He was not one of the Guardians' top prospects, or he hasn't been. I think he's number 26 in their system, or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, last night he had an absolute moonshot in his first at-bat. But what are some realistic expectations for J-Honk as he continues to get at-bats at the Major League level?
I mean, I don't have huge expectations. When most guys come up, you know, it's a struggle. You're going to have some ups and downs. I think the reason they probably brought him up and not Kyle Manzardo is because they want Kyle Manzardo to play every day right now. And you could argue whether or not he should be playing every day in the big leagues. The bottom line, he's not. He wasn't going to. And because Noel isn't the same prospect, it doesn't mean, hey, for all we know, Noel might end up being a better player than Manzardo. You never know. Yep. Just because the guy's a more highly touted prospect doesn't mean he's going to be better. But he's not going to play every day. But, you hit. I mean, he's a huge dude. If he starts hitting some home runs, so you got to keep him in the lineup.
And I think, no one's told me this, but I think that next time Manzardo comes up, the hope is probably that's it.
It's
the
right.
last time.
And they weren't ready for that commitment right now.
Correct.
So that's why that happened. But I think he's going to be a guy who's going to strike out and he's going to hit home runs.
Yep.
Did
you see, have you seen, off topic a little bit, Davis, the guy they got from the Padres in the Rule 5 and then returned him last year?
Oh, Davis and De Los Santos.
He is having a monster.
Yeah. Now it's in the minors.
Yeah,
so
I know.
You don't know.
But still, it's like, man, if you could have found a way to carry him for the year.
They could have carried him instead of Estevan Florial.
Yeah.
Back to Noel real quick. Did
Yeah.
you guys see his AAA teammates' reaction to his home run last night?
I did see this.
I did not.
He's a beloved figure among his teammates. You can see why he just brings some energy. But if you guys missed it, this is the Columbus Clippers reacting to his first at bat last night. You can even take the sound if you want, and Steve. But this was really cool to see. Jayhon.
Damn. I think it's safe to say he's well liked. Yes. Man,
how does that not put a smile on your face? Like, in all seriousness.
I mean, that's awesome.
It was one of my favorite videos I've seen pop across Twitter in a long time.
Mike, repeat after me. John
Jhonkensy. Jhonkensy. There's no honk in there.
No.
I'm adding a honk. It's Jhonkensy Noel.
Yes, you keep calling him Jhonkensy.
It's because we were calling him J-Honk upstairs.
Yeah.
That is.
I think Buckeye Guy might actually win it. Jahonkatonk Badonkadonk. Is probably the best.
Yeah, I don't think we can call him that. I don't think.
Kind of a long nickname is supposed to be short.
Repeat after me. John Kinsey. Jahansky. I can see how he keeps saying that though.
Well, it's because I kept spelling it wrong upstairs.
Jahansky.
So in my head, I'm like,
Shocking that people on this show spelled something wrong.
Well, listen, but no, it's spelled right on the graphics. But as I was trying to
Anthony's
spell
flipping me off.
in my head, I'm like, it's Jhonkensy.
Right.
So now when I'm saying it phonetically like I had to spell
It's
it.
confusing because
John Kinsey.
the John is spelled Jhon, which is in some Latin cultures the name John is spelled Jhon.
Johnny Peralta.
He's from the Dominican Republic, I believe, right? Is he from the Dominican Republic?
I don't know where he's from.
I think he is.
I'll double check, but I believe so.
I think he is. So.
That reaction.
Earl says yes.
That reaction, I swear to you, that reaction is how a college team is. Once you see your boy go to the NFL and make play, that's exactly how he was at O State.
That's awesome.
He sat there going crazy on somebody making a play. Oh, I miss being in the locker room, boy. I tell you. Good
now
times.
you're in the media.
Good. I'm not.
Now you're in the media.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that.
Media member Tyvis Powell's very
I contribute to this show and give my thoughts and opinion from a former athlete standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, it's a disappointing loss because you love when you have a winning streak, but obviously not the end of the world.
Take 2 or 3 from Baltimore.
They still won the series.
That's definitely a win.
And now you could basically put away Kansas City. Got a 4-game weekend series. We'll see if they take care of it. What are the other pitching matchups this weekend, Mike?
Let me pull it up here real quick for you
Kids
guys. I know tonight, Steve.
Lively and Waka tonight.
Lively Waka
It's
tonight.
Lively Waka.
You're going to have to face Lugo, although the Guardians hit him well last time.
Oh,
They
it's
get
one inning.
Reagans.
They hit him well for 1 inning.
Mackenzie and Allen.
I think they get
Next
Reagan.
up is McKenzie versus Marsh.
Okay.
I'm not sure who Marsh is.
Alec Marsh.
Bybee versus Reagans.
That'll be a heck of a
That's
matchup.
a great matchup.
And then it's Logan Allen versus Seth Lugo, which definitely favors Kansas City.
Yeah.
But that third game, Bybee versus Cole Reagan, should be the pitching matchup that everyone should tune
When's that?
into.
That's Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
It is Saturday, 4:10 first pitch.
That'd be a good game.
What do you got? 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, right?
8 o'clock,
There's
8
Kansas
o'clock,
City.
4 o'clock, 10. Correct.
10.
10. What do you mean 10?
210.
I was about to
8,
say.
8, 4, 210.
They're now doing some Sunday games at 11 a.m., but
It's weird. Real quick, well, back to Naylor because
yeah.
Noel
Right.
played first base last night, which
Yeah.
was, Manzardo when he was up was mostly a DH. We did see Naylor pinch hit.
Yeah.
So what do you think's going on? Because he was out of the lineup twice. I know we don't have any official word.
No.
We were concerned. The fact he pinch hit makes you feel a little better, but do you have any insight, any idea? what
I
might
don't. I
happen?
texted somebody with the Guardians. And
When he messed his leg up from
Yeah.
sliding in second, was he
he
fine?
was fine. He played the next game.
I wonder if he just got some
Listen,
soreness.
Josh Naylor plays balls to the wall. He doesn't know half speed, right? And so, he's a big guy, and he plays every day, and so he gets beat up. I was worried when I saw that lineup. I got very nervous.
What if he ain't in it tonight?
Well, I think I would assume he's going to play tonight unless he had a setback. The fact that he was able to pinch hit makes me feel confident that this is a minor thing. They felt like he needed a couple of days off, and so they did that. Now, it was against a good team in Baltimore, so it makes you a little nervous, but I don't know. I was antsy yesterday about it, Jason, but the fact that he pinch hit makes me feel better.
Yeah, hopefully it's something minor. I haven't checked on it. I
Yeah.
was busy with Cavs yesterday, so I haven't asked around. We'll see. If he's not in the lineup tonight, then it's worth digging into.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll wait and see till game time.
Right, I'm
in the
assuming he's
lineup.
back since he pinch hit last night, and,
Hopefully.
he looked fine, but he didn't have to run. He got on base. He did walk with 2 outs. And a rare 0 for, right, for Stephen Kwan. Did he go 0 for 5?
0 for 4.
0 for 4.
He's like
Dropped down
377.
to 377, and Tyvis
Yeah.
Powell is going to bed and waking up in cold sweats
Yeah.
now as he gets
Well,
further and further away from
Listen,
400.
guys, and this is no knock at Stephen Kwan. We all love Stephen Kwan.
I'm sorry.
You can't hit 400.
I want
Nobody's ever going to hit 400
I want to
again.
see Jay Crawford shave his head.
Jay said that Stephen Kwan would not hit 400, right?
Yes.
We'd all love to see Jay Crawford shave his head. That would be a highlight. I agree. But there's a reason nobody has hit 400 since long before even Steve was born. Okay?
That's a long.
Exactly.
You talking like
nobody is ever going to. Here's the bottom line to me. Tony and Jason, I'm guessing you'll agree. Tony Gwynn's the best pure hitter I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Okay? Tony Gwynn couldn't do it. He came close.
What'd he get?
392, I think he hit. 391, something. It was one year he hit 390 something.
What years was this?
In the 80s.
80s.
Or early, could have been early 90s.
I think it was 80s.
But probably 80s. If Tony Gwynn couldn't hit 400, then nobody's going to hit 400. I don't think.
you.
I don't think anybody's ever going to hit 400. If Stephen Kwan
It's
could hit,
gonna happen.
if Stephen Kwan could hit 375, that would be a magnificent accomplishment. There's only been 3 or 4 guys who have done it in the last 60 years. Forget 400. Nobody's hitting 400. Let's see if he can hit 375. That would be pretty impressive.
I'm trying to think what he would have to, at this point, he'd have to go probably, 8 for his next 10? Probably even higher than that to get back up to.
What, to get to 400?
Yeah, he'd probably have to go even.
I mean, yeah.
he'd
Probably
be
be hitting 390 something if he
Yeah,
went.
yeah.
8 for 10.
That's the thing, man. It don't take much.
No.
Just a couple offers really sort of derails you, and then you really have struggled to climb back up the
Right.
mountain.
And then there's always the possibility, is he pressing at some point?
Right.
Because there's been all the talk about 400 and 390.
What did Ichiro do? Was he hit?
Ichiro never hit 4.
I don't think he'd get close. Like
No,
350,
really?
40, 50.
And Ichiro set the record for most hits in a season.
Ichiro's best career season in terms of batting average.
It goes around
He hit
350.
372
Oh,
in
higher than I thought.
2004, 352 in 2009, 351 in 2007, and 350 on the dot.
Yeah, it's
when he
hard.
won
4
MVP
times.
It's hard.
in
2001,
Crazy.
right?
2001, correct.
Yeah.
He also had over
Led
200
me to a fantasy
hits.
championship that
1,
year.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different times he had 200 hits and led the league in hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
What's the record? Didn't he have 260?
262. I'm not. Is that the record?
Is that the record? Or the modern record, at least? I don't care what happened before the 40s. None of that matters.
Plus, they played more games than they did.
It is the record.
It's the record. I told you.
Ichiro 262 in 2004 is the record, which, to Bull's point, beat out a bunch of guys who came well
How many hits? I mean, Kwan's not going to get there because he missed a month.
Yeah.
How many hits? He's not even qualified among the team leader or the league leaders yet.
Not yet.
How many hits does he have though? Just out of curiosity this year.
Stephen Kwan this
80.
season.
80.
It is incredible how quickly I'm good at typing and talking at the same time.
Yeah.
Has 80 hits in 52 games.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. He's 100. No, I know he missed some time.
180.
182 behind.
Hey, that's actually on pace.
ridiculous.
That's a 162 game pace to beat Ichiro's record.
Is it?
Well,
I mean, he's not going
52
to play
games.
162 games.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
On pace, 52 games, 80 hits. So you times that by 3, you're at
40.
But just shy.
150.
I lied.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
shy.
Just shy.
54 games is a third of the season.
Yeah.
He's played 52.
52, correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's on pace for 240 hits.
A little more than that because he's
245-ish. Is the
Right.
exact. I just did the math.
which is remarkable.
Yeah.
But he's not going to play all those games
Right.
because he missed whatever games, 20,
And he
5.
still finished 17 hits shy of Ichiro.
if he
at
got
that pace.
to, you ready for a crazy stat? Mm-hmm. If he got to 245, and we take out every record before
Nothing.
1931,
Yeah, I don't care about anything that happened. It doesn't matter. Those don't count to me.
he would finish second all-time in hits. Do you know who would finish third all-time in hits if we take out all the guys from 1930 and prior?
In single season?
Yep. Ichiro again.
Oh, be Ichiro again.
Ichiro again.
What's
Darren Erstad has the modern-day
God.
record outside of Ichiro.
He had
with
one year.
240 hits
Yeah.
Wow.
in the year 2000.
Who would have guessed that?
He had
Never
one
heard
year.
of
I
him.
remember that. You
What's the
remember
most
that?
Gwynn ever had?
Gwynn, I'm going to have to control F.
Damn.
Let's see that. You talking about best hitter you've ever seen in your life?
I mean, Ichiro's right there. He'd probably be second for me behind Gwynn.
I remember Darren Erstad having one year where he hit like 380.
I know, it was crazy.
370, 380.
He had 355 the year he had 240 hits. The most hits Tony Gwynn ever had in a season was just 220.
Huh.
He walked
He
a ton,
sucked.
Yeah.
though. He hit 372 that year for the record. But, yeah, the names on this
But
list.
Gwynn hit 390 one year, right? 390 something. There was one year.
394. He only had 165 hits that season. He played 110 games.
Okay. Well, I wonder if he didn't qualify. He must have because it's on the all-time list.
And real quick, just some
Yeah.
other names. Bull, you could tell me if you
Larry
remember.
Walker.
Walker.
Wade Boggs.
Boggs is up there. Boggs had 240 as well. In 85, Boggs had 240 hits. He's
Rod
tied with
Carew.
Erstad.
Rod Carew up there.
Carew had 239. Don Mattingly, 238.
Oh, Don Mattingly. Wow.
Let's see.
Don Mattingly for 5 years was the best player in baseball.
Kirby Puckett's on that list.
Yeah.
George Brett.
Let's see. Willie Wilson in 1980.
Teammate of George
I
Brett.
would not have guessed that.
Lance Johnson in 96.
Lance
Another
Johnson. I remember
modern day,
him,
he
yeah.
had 227.
Yeah.
And that's really, I mean,
That's it.
listen, these are the names in the top 10. I'll give you the top 10, then we'll move
Lance
on.
Johnson. Nobody would have guessed Lance
No,
Johnson.
no.
That's even more obscure than Darren Erstad.
Yeah.
So this is the top 10.
Yeah.
Ichiro's number 1.
Yeah.
George Sisler from
Yeah.
1920.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Bill Terry from 1930.
Yep. Another Hall of
Lefty
Famer.
O'Doul from 1929.
Don't know Lefty O'Doul.
Al Simmons, 1925.
Al Simmons, I know. Another Hall of Famer.
Roger Hornsby,
25.
Roger Hornsby, yes, played for the Cubs.
1922.
Great player.
Chuck Klein,
Look at this.
1930.
Played for the Phillies.
This is ancient time.
Ty Cobb, 1911.
He was a racist, but a great player.
George Sisler again,
Yeah.
and then Ichiro, and that's
Yeah.
your top 10.
Yep.
Stephen
Wow.
Kwan on pace right now in a 162-game season. He missed time, so it's not his current pace.
Yeah.
But his pace, if he were to extrapolate that over 162
Yeah.
games, would put him 9th all-time behind Sisler, Cobb, Klein, Hornsby, Simmons, Lefty O'Doul, Bill Terry, and Ichiro.
It's
on the
amazing.
all-time hits list.
And I mentioned this yesterday, but I'll mention it one more time because Jason didn't hear this yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, Jason. But Brian Kenny said, before yesterday's game, obviously his batting average dropped. Stephen Kwan's batting average, it was the biggest gap in the history of baseball between the average batting average and Stephen Kwan's batting average. So he was more points batting average above the league average
got you.
than any player in the history of the game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what messed Quan up. Why he been having off games.
Yeah, why is that?
Because he hit them 2 home runs.
You think he's going for home runs now?
You know? He hit them too, and he was like, "Oh, really? I like this."
No, because I think it's been an emphasis all year. It's just hitting with more power.
It's been an emphasis, but when you actually do it back to back like that,
No, I mean it's not.
Huh.
It's not uncommon for a dude to go 0 for 5. Like it happens. It's baseball.
no, it's uncommon for him to go out for
Yeah.
You're right. For the average Joe, you're absolutely right. But him?
I just wonder, looking ahead now, can he? What does he become? Is he a 300
Right.
hitter with 5 home runs, which is what he's been?
Right.
Or is he? I mean, if he's a 340 hitter with 15 to 20 home runs,
Well, he's a
he's
perennial
a
all-star.
He's
Yeah.
a superstar.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking.
I mean, obviously,
You know what's funny? This just came to mind. And you got it. My brain, I remember a lot of stuff. I remember last year, McNuggets did a topic that said, of the young guys, I think it was Kwan, Jimenez, and it was somebody else. And I said, you know what? He said, who would you think will have the biggest, like who'll be the biggest superstar out of these guys? And I said Stephen Kwan, because I love the name, you could do the dance. And you looked at me and said, that's a good answer. But the only correct answer is Jimenez. Whoa. And the funny thing is, I remember that. I do. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember like it was yesterday.
I forget court dates.
And the and the funny thing is, I think I got you beat on that one too.
I think you do. You might. Yeah, you might.
Maybe you know what? I might have missed my calling. Maybe I should.
So I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah, I should stop talking basketball and football and just
go baseball.
Just go baseball.
Go all in.
I think I might do it.
By the way, one name that I'm now is piquing my interest. I'm seeing, like, I'm looking at a lot of trade rumors. I keep seeing.
Bichette.
Well, we've talked about that before, but I've seen a lot of people connecting the Guardians to the Rockies for their catcher Elias Diaz, which I don't see them making a trade for a catcher.
I don't either.
But I'll tell you a guy that could be on the block. I mean, it would cost a lot.
Is it a pitcher?
No. Well, we've talked a lot about the pitchers. But here's a hitter. Be a huge difference maker for this lineup. And he's proven he can hit when the lights are the brightest. Randy Arozarena.
Oh, I'm with you there.
They should get the Rays. I don't know how many years Randy Arozarena's got left on his contract, Mike. If you want to look that up real quick.
I think he's making $8 million this year.
Yeah, he's not high.
And I think he's got one more year of arbitration eligibility after this. I think I might be making that.
I mean, now you got to give up a ton of prospects.
He's not having a good year.
What are you willing to part ways?
But this guy has shown you in the playoffs time and time again.
Yes.
He hits big home runs.
Yes.
Let me ask a question because I'm not 100% how to read his SPO track right now. It says they avoided arbitration and he signed an $8 million contract this year.
Right.
Arbitration 3 is his status for next season.
That's his
arbitration
third
4
year.
for 26. So he's 2 more years of
Oh,
arbitration.
he's got
then
2 more
a free
years
agent.
left.
2 more years of arbitration.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to have to give up a lot to get him. Jason.
They're going to trade him. Like, I think he is going to get dealt by Tampa. And obviously there's a lot of
what's his stats this season?
Man, he's batting $189.
I told you he's not having
I didn't realize it was
mind.
that bad.
He's not having a good year.
How many home runs?
10-ish. About 10 home runs.
$189, 10 home
But
runs.
he's been better over the last month. He was horrendous.
What does he play?
I mean, he was an all-star last year.
What does he play in the field?
Left field. But I mean, you could move
DH.
him right.
He's an outfielder DH.
He's got speed. But the concerning part is his numbers have been dropping. Go back and look at some of his numbers the last 3 years. And they've been declining every year.
Last year, he had a career high in homers with 23.
The average has been dipping.
But the batting average, I mean, his first full year in the big leagues, 2021, he had 274, then 263, and last year 254.
And now he's down to 190.
But his on base last year was a career high 364.
All right.
So he walked 80 walks and 156 strikeouts for a power hitter is not bad.
He's the guy that you would hope would I mean, Tampa's not out of it. They're not really in it. They're sort of a fringe team, but they trade when they're in contention. Like
But you give them 3 prospects between your 5th and 15th best prospect.
and they're already loaded with prospects.
Yeah.
But this is how they operate.
The Guardians,
and there's synergy between the two franchises, obviously.
definitely.
So,
right. The Guardians have to be aggressive. We talked about this time and time again. They got to get a pitcher. They got to get a hitter. You know, whether
Do you want Aaron Savali back
no
in a deal?
No.
Or Rosarina and Savali.
I'd rather get Cal Quantrill back.
He's
than
been
Savali.
pitching really good.
But I want somebody better than those guys. I would like to see the Guardians. And I mentioned Jameson Tyone. I don't know how much better he is than those guys. He's better. I don't know if there's a top-of-the-line pitcher to be had. You know, with Luzardo going on the IL. I mean, you know, they're not going to get. If I were the Guardians, I'm not sure this team would even consider trading him. We mentioned it once briefly. I would pay whatever it took to get Tarek Skubal from Detroit.
Yeah, I don't think
Detroit would ever do it.
They'd hang up the phone.
But
Just because it's interdivision.
I would make them an offer that you thought they couldn't refuse. I don't care who you give up. I'd give up anybody in the
Hang
system
up the phone.
besides the first pick in the draft. Anybody else.
I just don't think
they
it's
won't do
realistic.
it. They
Yeah.
won't.
I'm hitching my wagon to Luis Severino. Although the Mets are now back up to 500, they just beat the Yankees
They're not going
twice.
to trade him. I don't. And by the way, his strikeout numbers are real down. I'm a little worried
but you
about
don't need
that.
him to be a game 1 starter. You just need him to. I would trust Luis Severino in a game 2 or game 3 in a playoff series. That's all I care about right now.
I mean,
all I'm looking at
that's
is,
fair.
is lining up a playoff rotation.
He's okay. He's
I
better
just think-
than these other guys
I
you're
think
talking about.
the combination, because again, like I don't know.
He's a free agent at the end of the year,
That's
so
what
it's
I'm
not
saying.
going to cost
It's
that
not going
much.
to cost you a ton. For
Well,
what-
it will though, because a lot of teams need pitching, but it won't
not
cost
gonna
you as
cost
much
you.
as a controllable guy.
No, for what he's making,
Yeah.
for what you'd have to give up. I just think it's a really, really good fit. I think that's the guy that I would want.
I got to look at it more with some of the teams that are kind of moving in and out of.
It's hard to say.
contention.
Like we're
Yeah.
still a month out, and if the Mets could unravel again and lose 6 straight
Yeah.
and be out of it again.
I wonder, does that happen in negotiations? Guardians call up Detroit. Brrr, can we get Skubal? Click.
Yeah.
There is no chance.
Yeah, I would
that
never
is
do it if
Detroit.
I
That
were
would be
Detroit.
hilarious.
Never
to
trade
me.
that guy to a team. And again, it's not all equal. But in that instance, when you know you're going to see that guy for the next
Yeah.
3 years or whatever,
Yeah, he's one of the 5 best pitchers in the game.
no chance.
All right, that's gonna do it for our baseball conversation. We spent 45 minutes on basketball. We spent 40 minutes on the Guardians. And now it's time to talk something about we surprisingly haven't done very often lately, and that's the NFL.
Only our second Browns topic of the week, which
Yeah.
is crazy, and our only Browns topic previously was for about 8 minutes in
Yeah.
between other topics earlier in the week. This
got my
Browns
cheat
topic
sheet.
today is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home some big-time wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Bull explained the topic earlier.
Yeah.
We are all drafting. We're going to do until the Browns player gets picked, and then
And then we can
move on
stop?
to the next topic. Yeah.
right.
So once a Brown player
Mike,
gets picked.
let me ask you this, though. Instead of doing it one at a time, should we kind of discuss it? It might be better that way.
Let's do it one at a time to
All right.
start, and then when a Browns player gets
Fair
picked,
enough.
we can start. We can move on to the next
All right.
topic. So, like Bull said earlier,
Yeah.
every player's in the pot. Contracts are all equal for this. Contracts do not matter whatsoever, but age and positional value does. This is a draft of who you're starting your team with and who you would select in a Madden Dynasty franchise mode.
Yeah.
Every player is available. So, Tyvis, we'll start with you, and we'll go around the horn
Are
on
we
the fourth
putting
pick.
more weight on quarterbacks?
Yeah,
I guess-
positional value totally matters.
Of course.
Okay.
So, but contracts are all equal. So whether they're on a rookie quarterback contract or they're
Doesn't
Justin
matter.
Herbert,
Contract's
it
a
doesn't
non-factor.
matter. Exactly.
Everything else is.
The point of this is to see how far we can go before a Browns player,
And we
gets
just
drafted.
and this is all not one team. We're going like through 32. Like so
We're drafting for the 32 different teams.
Got
Yes.
you. Okay.
Yep. And we'll stop. We'll move on to the next topic when the a Browns player gets drafted.
Yeah.
So Tyvis,
right.
start us off.
Well, obviously, Patty Mahomes. I mean, you can't. You'd be crazy not to pick Patrick Mahomes.
No
number
debate
one.
there.
So Patty Mahomes.
Easy. All right, Jason, with the second pick, who you taking?
I did no research for this, so Myles Garrett. Next topic. Done. What else you got?
I hate these guys. I really do.
Look what you have to put up with here,
I-
Mike. I prepared a whole list here, a
Segment
whole
over.
cheat sheet.
Segment over.
Hey, Steve, give me the camera. Give me the camera.
Segment over.
Give me the camera. Jason Lloyd, you're fired from the Ultimate Cavs show.
All right.
Fired. Get him out.
You're out.
Now you guys piss me off. Okay. Let's do this one through. We're gonna draft a whole round,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter when a Browns player is selected. We'll do a whole first round,
Yeah.
1 through 32. And Bull, do you want to discuss it as a group, or do you want to actually?
I think we
draft
should
it?
discuss it as a group, guys. What do you
Well, I
think?
really did no research on this.
Yeah,
so-
that's-
Fine.
Let's do it. All right.
And real quick, no, because
Yeah.
I want to pile on Jason a little more. When
Pile
I sent
on.
the rundown out yesterday,
I was at the Cavs draft last night.
fair.
And I was in
pull
court
up
this
the rundown
morning,
text I
again.
sent yesterday and read the note I put before I put the first topic, so you know the people
Yeah.
know exactly what I said to be ready for.
Preliminary rundown. Bull, Jason Tyvis. 3 stars. Be ready to draft at the end. 3 stars.
I mean,
Does it say 3 stars?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
It does say
Yeah.
Just because I didn't do any research doesn't mean I'm not ready.
All right.
stars.
We all agree
Myles
Patrick
Garrett.
Mahomes.
So we can do this as a group.
There is no debate. There can't be a person on the. Is there a person on the planet? I mean, but
Earl would take MJ, but outside of Earl, Mahomes is the right pick. That is my one.
you know,
vote
I
as
say
well.
that, but there are fans of some teams that like. I saw my man Nick Wilson fill out his All-Star ballot today, and he picked all Guardians. Like, that's lame. I don't ever do that. You want to use your team as a tie. I love you, Nick, but you can't pick all Guardians. They don't all deserve
That's
it.
funny,
Correct.
'cause
I never vote for guys that don't deserve it.
I did that for the. So when you do the NFL does their
Yeah.
top 100,
Yeah.
they bring the people in the locker room. They give you the paper to fill
Yeah.
out. I literally did everybody on the team and all Buckeyes.
See? That's
Every
weak.
time.
You're screwing the whole
They
process.
literally say that. They say you can vote your own team.
That's stupid.
Okay,
you shouldn't be
cool.
allowed. So the whole thing's fraudulent. All right. Number 2 is where we have our first debate, I guess.
Joe Burrow.
You got Joe 2.
I
Jason.
do not.
Jason, who do you have 2?
I'll go Burrow.
Believe it or not, I have Josh Allen 2.
I had Josh Allen as well.
And the only reason, a year ago, I would have taken Burrow ahead of Allen. If you guaranteed me they'd both be healthy for the rest of their careers, I would take Burrow.
Exactly my.
But
exact
Burrow's
same
been more
thought
injury
process.
prone than Allen, so I got to put Allen ahead. So it's 2-2. Who's the tiebreaker?
It doesn't matter.
Earl just went to the bathroom, so Anthony, would you take Burrow? Or Earl's coming back. Earl, would you take Burrow or Josh Allen to start your franchise with for number 2?
Go Bucks. I'm taking Joe Burrow.
My boy!
Burrow 2. Did you guys have Allen at 3?
Yes.
Okay, so Burrow 2, Josh Allen 3. Bull, did you have it in that same order?
I had
mean,
Allen.
those
I had Allen 2,
three,
Burrow 3. Yes.
Okay, so number 4.
This is going to be controversial. I think.
C.J. Stroud.
I got C.J. Stroud too.
Come on
Look at
now.
that. Look at that.
C.J.
I
Stroud.
had Stroud at 5. I had Lamar.
You had
at
Lamar 4. Did you have Lamar or C.J. Stroud or another position maybe?
I mean, we got to stay with quarterbacks. For
Yeah, I
right
mean,
now.
you'd be crazy to take another position over Lamar or C.J.
I
Stroud.
would probably, at least for one more year, take Lamar. Although,
All right, it's a tie again.
2-2 split. Earl's now in the bathroom. Anthony, did you take Lamar or C.J. Stroud?
I'm taking Lamar for this one.
So Lamar 4, C.J. 5.
yeah,
I
that's-
had Lamar 5.
Fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So real quick, so top 5 quarterbacks: Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar Jackson, and C.J. Stroud.
I think
are your
6.
top 5.
I think 6 is the first spot where there could be 4, 5, 6 different guys.
For the record, Bull.
Yeah.
Before we move on to 6, were these your top 5 in some order?
Yes.
These are my 5 top and top.
Yeah.
I think there's pretty consensus top.
Yeah,
5.
the top 5 is
It
pretty easy.
Yeah, it is. What
It just
Okay.
depends on the order you want them. I guess
6.
there might be some people that would argue Stroud should not be in the top 5 because he's only done it once, and that's fair.
I
We're
mean, I can hear
projecting,
that. I can
you
hear
know.
that.
6 guys. Who you got 6?
Can I go first?
Go ahead, Mike.
I had Jordan Love.
Interesting. I had him.
That's
It's funny
fair.
because I had him pretty high too, and I thought I was going to have him the highest, and I didn't.
I was going to say Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson.
That's reasonable. I'm not a Hurts fan, so I can't say him.
Yeah.
Jared Goff been balling, but
There's no other quarterback I can look at and
You
say
could take Brock Purdy because
See, I got Justin Herbert 6.
contract doesn't matter.
I had
contracts
Herbert
don't matter.
7 for the record.
I can't take as great as Justin Jefferson is. Justin Herbert's a very good quarterback. I know he hasn't had playoff success.
Yeah, and done crap.
And he's had bad coaching around him.
Who are you talking about? Herbert?
Justin Herbert. I would take Herbert 6. So you got Jefferson, I got Herbert, you got Jordan Love. Tyvis?
No, Jason. We're waiting on Jason.
Jason said he got Justin Jefferson.
Oh, Jefferson. Oh, excuse me. I thought Tyvis said that.
All right, to keep this thing moving, so I got to choose between Jordan Love, Justin.
No, you don't.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
No, we have Earl Brackett.
Earl could be the
So if you
tiebreaker.
pick someone that's not mentioned, Earl will be the tiebreaker.
No, let's just
and
do-
Anthony could be a tiebreaker as well.
Who you got?
I got Herbert, Mike's got Jordan Love, and Jason's got Justin Jefferson. I could tell. If you're picking 6 in this draft, there's no way you're taking Justin Jefferson over a top quarterback. No way. There's no way that's happening.
There is no other quarterbacks on that list that I look at as a slam dunk absolute ultra.
All right.
There's not.
Jordan Love because he's young. So I guess Herbert
doesn't
is
matter.
too.
I guess it does matter.
Well, it does matter. Age matters.
Stop
yes.
it.
No,
Yeah.
the whole point
You
is
so
Herbert's young,
contract.
future
All right.
Is Love any younger than Herbert?
Is he not?
He actually may be older.
Yeah, I mean, they're about the same age probably.
Dang.
Jordan Love is 25. Justin Herbert's 26, so a year younger.
So but that's an irrelevant difference. Anyway.
I had Herbert 7, by the way.
Jordan
so he's
Love,
next on my
yeah.
list.
I had Herbert 6. I'm sorry. So you had Herbert 7.
So you're ready for Herbert at 7 because you had him at 6.
I had Herbert 6, obviously. At 7, I had Dak Prescott.
But we're at 7 right now. So
Go ahead. So Herbert. All right.
Justin Jefferson.
All right. So Herbert's go 7.
I mean, that's my guy. I'm going to keep saying. I'm not going to change it.
No.
Well, I had Dak at 8.
You could take CD.
So-
I had Jordan Love at 8.
So we
you
just-
and I had the same top
Yeah.
8 in a little different order.
So two for Dak here. Tyvis, where are you going?
For what number?
This
8.
is number 8.
Justin Jefferson.
Ah, my guy.
2 Daks, 2 Justin Jeffersons. Earl, you're the tiebreaker. Will we see our first non-quarterback go in a draft where this is starting your franchise with player X, all contracts out the window? This is
Jay
just
Jettis.
players.
I gotta go with the highest non-paid QB in the NFL, Justin Jefferson.
Jay Jettis.
All right. Interesting that Tyvis, Earl, and Jason screwed that up. Because there's no chance on earth if this was a real draft, that Justin Jefferson would be drafted over Dak Prescott.
I am looking at talent.
Quarterback is what matters. There'd be at least 14 quarterbacks would be drafted before any non-quarterback.
This is what I.
At least 14.
He mad that his paper is off.
Well, I had 13, but
He put all this work
By the
in.
way,
I'm just pulling names out of the air.
I only had Justin Jefferson as my 5th non-quarterback.
I had him as my first non-quarterback.
I had him as my 5th. Now I had
Who did you have as your first non-quarterback?
I had 4
CMC?
later. No. He's my first skill position player. The top 4 guys are not skill position players.
Oh,
of
you said
non-quarterbacks.
non-quarter.
So let's move to number 9. I still vote Dak because I had him at 8 Bull. I'm assuming you go with Dak again.
I'm going with
because he's the
Dak
highest
again.
on your board. Jason Tyvis, where are you going at number 9?
What of these slappy quarterbacks are left?
I had Jalen Hurts at 9. But
I did too.
Herbert's on the board, right? We already put him on.
Yeah, well, he's on.
Yep. The best quarterbacks left are Dak, Jalen Hurts, Purdy, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk
Tua.
Cousins,
Matt
Tua,
Stafford,
He's old.
maybe Aaron Rodgers.
I guess Dak, fine.
Oh, Jason.
So there's Dak Prescott at 9. And then, Bull, it sounds like you had Hurts at 9 on your list.
I had Hurts at 9.
I had Hurts in the same spot on mine, so
Yeah.
2 for Hurts.
2 for Hurts.
Tyvis, Jason, what do you think?
Hurts. Even though I don't like Hurts, I just don't.
He makes me nervous.
I'm not a huge fan. And again, there are so many supremely talented players. We're getting down to the quarterbacks now that are overpaid and overrated, as far as I'm concerned. I'm serious.
Okay. Well,
Trevor,
Hurts is 10.
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is making.
11, Mike.
He's the prime
Let's
example.
recap the top 10.
Yeah.
Every
Overpaid
time we
and
go through
overrated.
5, we're going to recap the top 10.
Okay.
It started Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and CJ is your top 5. Jordan Love, Herbert, Justin Jefferson, our first and only non-quarterback so far at 8. Dak Prescott 9, Jalen Hurts at 10. Bull, where are you going with 11?
Jamar Chase.
Well, I had Brock Purdy at 10.
That's a good pick.
So,
Did you take my list? I had Purdy at 10 as well.
great minds think alike.
good
So,
pick.
yeah, Purdy's next for me.
If we're going to keep drafting overrated quarterbacks, then he's
You don't have to take a quarterback.
I do think we're getting into the territory where we need to start.
Yes,
looking at
absolutely.
other-
Now I think we're
other
getting to
spots.
that territory. Yeah.
I'm willing to have the discussion on other positions.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So if you want to make the case for Chase or a defensive player or somebody, I'm
Or
all
Myles
in.
Garrett.
I do think we're getting to Myles territory.
Yeah.
For sure. I actually give me Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
You like Jamar over CD?
Yes.
I had Jefferson and Chase as 5 and 6 on my non-quarterback list.
Tyvis, where are you going? We have 2 for Purdy, 1 for Chase. You going defense? You going to go quarterback?
That's it. Because both of those two, named Purdy or Chase, I mean,
Or you go someone else. You don't have to go.
Yeah, you don't have to go with those guys. Go somewhere else.
I like to keep the thing. I like to keep the ball rolling.
I put 37 seconds of research into this.
You see what they do to me?
You know what?
Normally, I'm
gonna
prepared.
go. I'm gonna go
On this one, I am not.
I'm gonna go Chase.
So 2
All
for
right,
Chase,
Earl,
2
my
for
man.
Earl. Jamar Chase or Brock Purdy?
I ain't taking no spanking Brock Purdy. We going with Jamar Chase. Man.
So Jamar Chase next up off the board, and that was number 11.
Funny enough, there's been 2 Bengals, and neither one was picked that high by me.
Yeah.
Of all people.
It's
People
cause
are
for
not going to
concern.
believe that when we do
Right?
the recap.
Exactly.
I still have Purdy next on my board.
Purdy
Both
next
same
for
with
me.
you.
Yeah.
Jason and Tyvis, are you take another skill position and or defensive player or offensive lineman? They're on the board too. Or are you ready to go with Purdy at number 12?
We are approaching this Myles territory because I can see Myles being the next name.
Would Myles be the first defensive player?
I have him as the first. I had Myles Garrett as my first non-quarterback.
How
For me.
the only case you could make
Yeah.
for taking like Nick or Micah is that they're younger.
I had Micah
That's true.
1 spot ahead of Miles just for the age.
Are we playing games in September or December?
This is building
Both.
a team.
Micah
so your choice.
Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
Purdy, Micah Parsons.
Purdy.
You can pick Miles. There's nothing against picking Miles here.
I'm trying to convince him to sit down for a story with me, so give me Myles.
Okay.
So we have, that means Purdy wins.
Purdy wins.
So Purdy then
You are
goes to number
sick.
12.
Now I originally said I had 14 quarterbacks before any non-quarterbacks, but I'm changing now, and I'm going to vote. I'm going Myles Garrett at 13.
I'm going Micah Parsons.
Okay.
I'm going Micah Parsons.
Jason, Myles Garrett.
I mean, I said Myles
He
last
took- yeah,
time,
so-
so I
Oh,
can't.
I wonder if Earl's going to take Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett.
I'm definitely taking Myles Garrett. Remember, Micah said Cleveland is Cleveland or something like that, and then he almost got slapped by David Njoku.
Yep.
We going Myles Garrett right here.
I don't
It
know
is
that
by
he
the-
almost.
It is by the
I don't think
slimmest
he
of
almost got
margins.
slapped by David Njoku.
The only reason for me is the age. That's literally
Yeah,
it.
that's fair.
I'm with Ty. And it's by the
Like if
we're doing
we're doing a 1-year season, I'm taking
Yeah.
Myles.
So Micah is my next pick then for 14.
Yeah, I'll take
Are you guys okay with Micah being the next pick at 14?
I have 2 guys ahead of him.
Who?
But
Jared Goff.
I have Jared Goff and Penei Sewell ahead of him.
I thought you'd have Stafford higher. You seem to be in love with
Stafford's
Stafford.
next after that. I got Stafford as my, I think, 12th quarterback.
CD Lamb.
CD Lamb.
That's a good one.
Over. Do we already finalize Parsons at 14?
Let's go with
I'm
Parsons.
putting Micah. I'm
Yeah,
putting Micah.
yeah.
Parsons at 14.
CD
Now we're at 15.
CD Lamb.
CD.
I'm going Goff.
I have Goff next on my list too, boy. I swear to goodness. I'm not making this up.
There you go.
And confirm. Is Goff not next on my list here? So 2 for Goff, 2 for CeeDee Lamb. Will Earl go 3 for 3 on receivers?
I'm going CD Lamb.
CD
at
Lamb was
15.
not next on my receiver board.
Who was
I know
Tyreek?
I did Tyreek. I know he's older, but
So to recap, 11 through 15. Once Ant updates this officially with CeeDee Lamb, it is Jamar Chase at 11, Brock Purdy at 12, Myles Garrett, the first Brown and first defensive player, comes off the board at 13, Micah Parsons at 14, and CeeDee Lamb at 15.
Are we
For
playing
16,
these
I'm
games
going with
in
Jared Goff, by the way. That is
September
my
or
vote.
I'm going Goff
That's a good
and
point.
then Penny. Goff at 16.
Changes the answer a little bit.
Guys,
What'd you say?
We both said Goff at 16.
Golf is fine.
I don't like golf.
Golf
doesn't
is
like
fine.
golf.
I don't have a choice.
All right, Goff at
Goff
16.
at 16. Where are you going at 17? I got a little curveball here at 17.
I've got Penei Sewell.
I do not
17.
have Penei Sewell.
Nick Bosa.
I do not have Nick Bosa.
Who you got, Mike?
Sauce Gardner.
Oh,
Good choice.
Over MJ?
Over Nick
Please
Bosa.
tell
The
me he's not
blasphemy.
being serious.
The blasphemy.
Over Nicholas John Bosa. That's whew.
All right, Bosa, Sauce Gardner, Penei Sewell, Jason.
Bosa.
We haven't put T.J. Watt in there yet either.
Penei Sewell.
Good name too.
Bosa.
How old is
Sauce.
Nick Bosa? He like 27, 26?
Well, anything I say other than Bosa, Earl's going to say Bosa. Go Bucks.
Bosa's 26.
I'm just saying.
So I will.
What didn't he win Defensive Player of the Year, or was he just rookie?
No,
at
Miles
defensive-
Garrett won.
No, like
Oh, in the
like,
past
He
year.
won. He won the year before Miles.
Okay.
What do you got, Jason?
Trying to think of a way to muck this up, but I don't think I can.
Denzel.
You can pick someone we
Ward.
haven't mentioned.
Deshaun Watson.
You take Trevor Lawrence if you want.
I will not take Trevor Lawrence. Can
You can
promise
take
you that.
Garrett Wilson.
Give me T.J. Watt.
So we have 4 different answers.
All right,
here.
Earl.
Earl, you're
I know you're
deciding
taking
factor.
T.J. Watt.
Your 4 options, just to
He
recap.
could.
He
Penei
T.J.
Sewell.
Penei
Watt
Sewell.
Over Penei.
Look at who we're
T.J.
talking
Watt,
to.
Sauce Gardner, and Nick Bosa.
I do like Sauce.
All right, so I'm never taking Sauce over MJ. I think Bull is funny because he named the offensive lineman, and we don't watch offensive linemen from other teams. I'm never taking the Steeler
That's
over
fair.
a Buckeye. Go Bucks.
I told you.
That's fair,
but
but
he's taking Bosa.
you just, I think, seriously said M.J. Emerson, who doesn't belong in the conversation. with
Yeah.
Sauce
Whoa,
Gardner.
whoa, whoa.
Yes.
Blasphemy, Bull.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give Earl the benefit of the doubt and say he's just messing around.
We'll have.
By the way, why is Joe Burrow on this picture? Doesn't make any sense.
we have to make them
I
beforehand,
got
and
you.
Ant just picked 5 pictures.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'm voting Sauce for 18 now.
I'm voting Sewell.
I'll vote T.J. Watt.
We're at a stalemate.
Sewell, Sauce, T.J. Watt. Stop
Okay.
that. Y'all need to cut this
T.J.
out.
Watt, he was my next guy.
Cut it out.
Okay, I'm still going Sauce. You're still going Sewell.
Sewell, yeah. My next quarterback's Stafford, but
He's not my next quarterback.
PS2.
Patrick Surtain is on
I
my
had him on the
list.
list too.
I'll go with Mike. I'll say Sauce.
Okay.
Sauce Gardner then is number 19.
Pull up my list here.
And for number 20,
Yeah.
Max Crosby.
that was my guy too, Todd.
Choice.
Oh, that is a good choice.
He should have been over Sauce.
That is a good choice. Yeah, Max.
These guys aren't better than Penei Sewell. He's
You need to cut
I
it
just don't
out.
think you're taking an offense. I agree Sewell's a better player. but I
Yeah.
don't think you're starting a team with an offensive tackle.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? You need people that's gonna change games. That right there.
what's better than protecting the quarterback?
Well, they ain't got one to protect right now.
All right.
He
So
got a
I'm
good
16
one.
through 20.
Yeah.
Jared Goff, Nick Bosa,
Who we
T.J. Watt,
miss?
Sauce Gardner, and Max Crosby.
Who we miss?
We'll keep going. We'll keep going.
I think we missed Tyreek.
Oh,
I
no,
mentioned
he
Tyreek
mentioned
like
Tyreek.
5 picks ago.
Tyreek Hill is my next selection at 21.
I wish Aaron
All right, I'm
Donald.
going to stop saying Sewell
I
because
wish
none of you guys
Aaron
are taking
Donald
him.
didn't retire,
should
man.
be
I would have had
higher.
him third.
I'm going with
should be
Matt Stafford here.
Give me Tyreek.
I went Tyreek. What'd you guys go with?
Tyreek. I went Stafford.
Wait, Max Crosby already on the list?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we put him on.
Oh. Who you say?
Stafford.
Who you got?
Tyreek.
I went Tyreek as well.
Why would you take an old wide receiver over an older quarterback?
I still think you get 2 or 3 years of elite play out of Tyreek Hill.
Stafford
When he's
was
on the
great
field-
last year.
When he's on the field, no one changes the defense more than Tyreek Hill.
Deshaun Watson.
Oh, stop it.
So that means Tyreek Hill's the pick. So Tyreek Hill goes 21.
You're really clinging on to that second half against Baltimore.
Well, he took Pat Surtain before and then changed it up to Deshaun.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Tyvus' credibility is questionable.
Little
You're
low.
right. PS2 should.
All right,
PS2 should be the next. Is my next answer.
22. Stafford.
You guys may think I'm crazy. I went Trevor Lawrence here.
You are crazy. PS2.
I'm
He's
betting
a
on
quarterback. Patrick Surtain.
I
He's
am,
not better than Pat Surtain by any means, but
I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence. Christian McCaffrey.
Good choice. All right, Earl. He's got to break the tie.
No Bucks.
McCaffrey,
Oh no.
Pat Surtain, Trevor Lawrence, and Matt Stafford.
And you're not allowed to say MJ Emerson.
I'm going with CMC.
My man.
Christian McCaffrey. There you go.
Yeah.
I am not taking Trevor Lawrence. God.
I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence.
Will Trevor
Why
Lawrence
not-
be a top 32 pick, or
why
should we
not
drop him
Tua?
from my list completely? We still have Tua on the board.
I have Lawrence in the
I'd
top
probably take
32.
Tua
You have
before
Lawrence?
Lawrence.
Okay.
Tua, you gotta hawk Tua.
Clip that. Make sure that gets
That
clipped.
thing,
Make sure that
man,
gets clipped.
that is crazy. That is so crazy that thing is blown up.
Make sure that gets clipped and blasted on every social account.
Yeah.
Okay, back to reality.
Yeah.
23.
Spit on that thing. Stafford.
I got Lawrence.
I'm trying to hold it together, Mike. All right, Hawk Tua girl. Stafford.
Lawrence.
Man.
Lawrence.
Ooh-wee. Oh, Stafford or Lawrence?
Or whoever.
Tua.
Tua's a fair pick.
Jason?
Yeah. I can't do it. Tua.
Tua comes in at 23 here. Bull, where are you going for 24?
Stafford.
I guess I'm sticking with Lawrence, yeah.
I mean, if you're making me pick between those two.
PS2.
PS2. Give me PS2.
There you go.
Thank
Pat
you.
Surtain is
Finally.
number 24. Let's end this Stafford Lawrence chaos with 25. Pick one, the other one gets dropped.
Okay.
So
I'm
Jason,
taking Stafford.
Stafford or Lawrence? You're starting your franchise with this guy.
Started a
I
franchise.
can't believe you're making me do this. I would actually take Lawrence because he's young.
That's the
He's
only
younger.
thing. That is the only thing. But I would take Stafford. I'm cool. I ride. We got at least 2
All right,
years
Stafford
to
or
figure something
Lawrence?
out.
Earl, you got to break the tie. Remember, this is age dependent. Doesn't matter here.
I'm going Stafford, man. I can't go with Sunshine. I'm sorry. I'm with Jason. I can't.
No, I took Lawrence.
Jason went with
I
Lawrence.
went Lawrence.
Is anybody going to take an offensive lineman in the top 32?
You're
Because if
still,
not-
you're still
No.
flagrant over PS2.
all right. Well, because all right, then if we're not going to do offensive lineman, my next guy is A.J. Brown.
AJ
Real quick,
Brown.
21 through 25, just to recap.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, 21. McCaffrey, 22. Tua, 23. Surtain,
Man, he's
24.
that is not how you spell Tua's last name, is it?
No, it's not even close.
Not even
Ant-
close.
Ant's way off. But it's okay, Ant. Don't worry.
Tagavallo.
Yeah, he must have searched Hawk Tua and got whatever the first thing popped up. So,
Jhonkensy Noel.
so 20. We got a few minutes left, both. So let's run through the last last 7 picks.
A.J.
26.
Brown.
I'm okay with A.J. Brown at 26.
Guys,
Yeah, fine.
I guess.
26, A.J. Brown.
Devontae Adams.
20 options for 20.
No, AJ. No, I'm not taking. I'm taking Puka.
Puka
Puka.
Nacua.
Wow. Jason, Puka, or A.J. Brown?
Panay Sewell.
Panay Sewell.
Jason, Basil is an absolute menace.
Basil, what are you doing?
Get Basil under control.
A.J. Brown, 26, Mike.
26, A.J. Brown. I had Garrett Wilson, 27th.
Puka.
AJ,
No.
wait,
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson ahead of Amon
Go
Ross St. Brown
Bucks.
and Devontae Adams. I mean, Adams is old, but
You had who?
You know what? I did not have Amon on my list.
Amon, you gotta have
I'm
it.
changing to Amon.
Amon Ross St. Brown,
You already
27.
said Garrett Wilson. You got to stand on it. Go Bucks.
What are the options?
I said Amon Ross St. Brown. Mike said Amon Ra. He
I'm
changed.
with you on Amon, yeah.
Fine.
27,
Amon
Amon Ra.
Brown at 27.
28.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
I had him on my
It's a
list.
great answer.
I'm serious.
Great
I had him on my
answer.
list at 32.
I'm serious.
okay with that.
Yeah.
It's a little early for my liking, but I'm not. I
That's-
don't think it's crazy.
Great
I'm
answer.
serious.
Yeah. Guy's never played in the league. I don't know.
We'll go Marvin Harrison Jr. 28. I went Quinnen Williams 29.
Travis Kelce. I know he's old, but
I think he's too old for my liking. Went Quinnen Williams.
or Trevor Lawrence at this point.
He's on the list, isn't he?
Nope.
No, we didn't.
Deshaun Watson.
Lawrence. Lawrence.
All right, so
Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence is then the next pick. He's 29.
D. Watt.
30, I'm sticking with Quinnen Williams.
D. Watt.
Jason?
Harrison Butker.
You need to cut it out.
Come on.
You need to hate it.
No, I mean Panay Sewell. I'll go.
Panay Sewell, 30.
give you
Get him in
Panay
there
Sewell.
finally.
Panay Sewell for 30. And our last two picks, I'm still sticking with Quinnen Williams,
I'm-
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm
in
sticking
some
with
order.
D.
We
Watt.
got Trevor
Wait,
Lawrence.
Lawrence is on the board,
Oh,
isn't
we
he?
got Lawrence. Never mind.
D. Watt.
Quinnen Williams.
I can get behind Quinn Williams.
Quinnen Williams.
Y'all stink.
32.
I can't
Last
believe you
pick.
aren't trying to put Philip Walker Jr. on the board.
Travis Kelce.
I mean, I wasn't going to go there.
My last pick, Kyler Murray.
Oh, I had nothing to do with
No.
Kyler.
D. Watt.
I can't do that.
Watson, Kyler Murray.
D. Watt.
Oh, my God in heaven.
I got
If you have to pick
Kelce.
between Watson. Let's do this. Watson or Kyler. If you have to pick, who you taking?
I'd take
Watson or
Watson.
Kyler?
I'd take Watson.
D. Watt.
I don't feel great about either of them right now, but I'd take Watson.
I mean,
Kyler Murray, I
Or
don't want.
Garrett
him.
Wilson
you want
was
a
really my highest
gunshot
player
wound
left.
or a stab wound? Which one you want?
Who are you taking at 32?
Baker Mayfield.
Oh, my God.
No.
What are the best quarterbacks available right now?
Best quarterback still on the board. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson maybe, Caleb Williams maybe.
Actually, you know what? I think I would take Anthony Richardson. I like him. I really like him.
I'm not against Anthony. I would take Caleb over Anthony personally, but
I would also.
so Caleb
I'm not
Williams or
pick-
Anthony Richardson. That's the real choice.
Are we
Thomas.
really picked? Really? Is that where we
There's
at?
guys I would take
Yeah,
over
I'm about to
both
say,
of
is that where we at?
Well, we
What
got to
about-
pick one because we got 5
What about
minutes left.
Travis Kelce or Fred Warner?
I think they're too old to start a team with. My 2 cents.
What's the dude that?
What about Jock?
JOK,
No.
No.
Come on now.
MJ Emerson.
Tristan Wirfs?
You really?
He just
big,
said MJ Emerson and he's laughing at Tristan Wirfs?
You really big on this O-line thing. I'm trying to think.
We got super chat, so just pick a
Trent
last one.
Williams?
Garrett Wilson or Jalen Waddle. Garrett Wilson.
I'd
Go
take
Bucks.
Garrett Wilson
Garrett
over
Wilson.
Jalen
Go
Waddle.
Bucks.
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
All right, so to round out our top 32 picks to start a franchise with, then we'll get right into super chats. And whenever you're ready, let's go to the top.
I think more
Mahomes
quarterbacks
went
would go
1,
than we picked.
Joe Burrow
Probably,
went
but
2,
I hate
Josh Allen
overrating
3,
quarterbacks.
Lamar Jackson 4, CJ Stroud 5, 6 through 10, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert. Our first non-quarterback is Justin Jefferson, Dak Prescott, and Jalen Hurts. 11 through 15, Jamar Chase, Brock Purdy, Myles Garrett, the lone Brown in the first round, Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb. 16, we get to Jared Goff, Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Sauce Gardner, and Max Crosby. 21, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, Tua, Patrick Surtain, and Matt Stafford at 25. 26 through 30 starts with A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trevor Lawrence, and Penei Sewell. And our final 2 picks were Quinnen Williams and Garrett Wilson. I
Funny.
think overall, did a
The-
pretty good job.
The 9 of the first 10 were quarterbacks, but then only 14 quarterbacks total. I think it would be 20 quarterbacks probably in the first round. If that really happened, Mike, there'd be 20 to 25 quarterbacks. in the first
Probably.
round.
I was trying
Yeah.
to devalue the
mid-tier
mediocre
quarterbacks,
quarterbacks
yeah.
that are overvalued too much and actually take talent into account.
We got some super chats that we are going to read to wrap up the show here. Fun show, guys. We got a couple. First one comes from Matthew Dinkus, who says, between Jameis Winston and Jayhonk, I don't know if Cleveland can handle that much cake.
Okay.
I know he
Take
ain't.
that where you want.
I know he not referring to their rear ends.
I think that's what he's referring to.
Oh, is he? Cake is
think
for
that-
rear end?
Yeah, I think that's what he's referring to.
All right.
Next up, Chris Lowry says, why are we not trying to get Trevor Bauer? We need him.
Next.
Too much baggage.
Batman has 2, or really 3. I'm just going to read them. First one, #fire Koby Altman. Second one, Trump versus Biden tonight. Make sure you got that gas twisted up. It's finna go down.
You couldn't pay me enough to watch that
He
tonight.
said, "Make sure you got that gas twist."
You thought I'd watch it? No. What do I need to hear from you?
And he says his last one, and once again, I'm just reading it. He says, y'all some freaky African-American 69 gods. So I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. Last one comes from Mikey
Because
McGee.
because of the
Better-
hawk tour.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's what he's referring
Yeah.
to. Last one, Mikey McGee says, better Indians, Guardians hitter. Rank these 3, Manny, Jim Tomei, and Jose.
Manny's the best pure hitter I've ever seen in an Indians uniform. As a pure hitter.
I mean, it
He's the
depends
best.
how you're defining it. I'd have to put Jose third of the three, right? You know,
Told me he's the best power hitter. Yeah.
man. If you're asking like the best offensive player, I agree with Jason. I put Manny 1, Tommy 2,
I think I'd
Jose
agree with that,
3rd.
yeah.
But Jose's not done with his career, those guys are.
Correct.
If you ask all-around player, like he's a much better defensive player than those guys
Yes.
were.
Faster.
So and he's a great, better base runner, you know.
Yep.
But I'd have to put Jose
Hitting
third.
wise, Manny's the best ever.
I mean, he was
that
he was
jersey.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you on overtime.
Peace.
Spit on that thing.
Shut up.